The December 20, 2011 Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen Sewer Commission meeting. Before we start, I'll make an announcement. I am requesting that all cell phones and electronic devices be turned off or in a mute position as to not to disturb the meeting. Any member of the public also has a right to make an audio or video recording of an open session of a public meeting. A member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with reasonable requirements regarding audio or video equipment established by the chair, so as not to interfere with the meeting. The chair is required to inform other attendees of such recording at the beginning of the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman, all 5 selectmen are present, as is the town administrator, Mr. Andrews.
Any announcements?
I haven't received any this week, so I guess the only announcement is Merry Christmas, and listen very closely. That's all we have. Mrs. Winslow, do you have any?
I do not. I do have a flashing light necklace, but
Well,
it doesn't play music.
I'm sorry. Mr. Schneider? Mrs. Baker? Mr. Cruz?
None.
Citizens' participation.
Citizen participation? No citizen participation this evening. No, come on forward.
Discussion.
At least I got her smiling anyways. There you go.
Sandy Slavin, I just have one thing. I have nothing. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
No questions.
See,
Anything on
I'm even taking the notes down.
anything on Westfield?
No, I
Other than
think
we
it's,
have our upcoming workshop. Anybody? All right, the consent agenda. We have minutes before us from March 29, 2011. I would make a motion to. Oh, I can't. Mrs. Winslow, you're the only one. Mr. Cruz and I were absent.
Oh, okay, hold on.
March 29.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from March 29th. I'm the only one that can vote on it.
Yeah. I'll make a second out of necessity, because there is no other member.
I don't have any comments about these, so
You what?
I didn't have any comments about.
all in favor?
I.
All opposed? Yes,
Aye.
that's unanimous, the only one there.
Or abstain. That works.
Are you opposed?
What are you going to do? Okay, next we have the minutes from August 9th. I'd make a motion we approve the minutes of August 9th as written.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Kara. Questions? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain, Mr. Chairman.
401.
Make a motion we approve the minutes of September 20th as written.
You were absent. Second.
Oh, there you go. Karen made the motion.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
400.
That was 401. Next, we have the minutes from December 6th. I'd make a motion we approve the minutes of December 6th as written.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Kara. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 500.
Okay, we still have a few minutes. We have a hearing at 7:15, but we have an interview. Is Mr. O'Rourke here? Teddy O'Rourke? No interview. The way we have about 8 minutes. We can do the real quick. We can do the make a motion that we approve an application by Pierview Restaurant doing business as Stevie's Lounge, 211 Onset Avenue, to remain open until 2 a.m. on January 1st, 2012, for a New Year's Eve party to be held on December 31st, 2011, under the provisions of Chapter 138, Mass General Law.
Second.
Motion made, second. Question? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 500.
Okay. Mr. Andrews, you want to start your town administrator's report?
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Clerk Holmes, and Mr. Chairman, through you, to the listening audience and those here this evening. I'd like to ask Chief Stanley to come forward, if you could, Chief.
Mr. Andrews, just remember that we have to stop at 7:15, so if you want to, if he's going to
Move
take
to-
more than 7 minutes.
Chief, take a seat. I
know you too well.
I did the best I could. Mr. Chairman, if I could, I just want to recognize, while the Chief, you can stand, Chief, please, and come forward. On Wednesday, December 7th, Chairman Cruz and I attended, at the invitation of Chief Stanley and his traffic control team, the annual meeting of the American Automobile Association Awards at the Venus de Milo Function Center in Swansea. And I want to thank Chairman Cruz and Lieutenant Kevin Walsh and Lieutenant John Walsack and Officer Brian Wayland for their participation at this event. This marked a year-long, really, of monitoring activities in town by AAA. The award was presented by management of the Southern New England AAA and recognized as the outstanding achievements in traffic safety. And I copied for you, and it looks kind of bronze in the packet. I apologize, but it is the bronze award. We're going for the gold on the new plans that the Chief has set forth that you'll be hearing about very shortly, Mr. Chairman. But I want to just ask the Chief to step forward and maybe say a few things about that award right after I finish item C, if I could. Mass Development Program on December 12th, I wrote a letter of support on behalf of South Coast Hospital Group. They applied for and will be receiving $20 million of tax-exempt leasing with respect to this program on the Mass Development, which is the state agency that puts out close to $700 million with the bonds for hospitals and other types of entities. The hospital received and will be purchasing medical equipment in the form of CT scanners, MRI equipment, ultrasound equipment, beds and lighting. And I know Selectwoman Begley worked with me on this to understand some of the other items that were on that list. I want to thank you for that. I know that Mass Development is committed to this economic development program. This really means productive investment in our community, continuing, and it means jobs in the end result, so and job creation. So I'll keep you posted on the progress of that matter. If I could ask you, Chief, maybe to step forward with the limited time that we have to talk about the bronze medal, if you could.
Yes, just quickly, the Wareham Police Department just recently started to put a tremendous effort forth. We always had an effort, but we're really making a priority now to deal with traffic enforcement issues, not just strictly enforcement, but the whole education and engineering, signage in town, and so forth, which falls in line with the whole process that we were just appointed to that traffic commission here in town, and signage and so forth. So it really blends well with what we're doing. Currently, Officer Brian Whalen was assigned the duties as traffic enforcement officer, as safety officer. It's much broader than simply traffic enforcement. He was charged with the responsibility under the direction of Operation Division Commander Kevin Walsh to put forth an application to AAA to show some of the progress that we've made in this field. And again, they won the bronze award this year. I've promised the chairman and the town administrator, as well as Lieutenant Walsh and Officer Wayland, that we will win the gold award next year. So when you look at southeastern Massachusetts, there aren't a tremendous amount of departments that won an award at all. So we came in with bronze, which was a good start, but we will, I guarantee you, next year at this meeting be telling you about the gold medal. And again, I thank you very much, Mr. Cruz, for taking time out of your schedule to be there, and Mr. Andrews. I think it's important for the staff to see the support of our elected officials at these kind of things, and Mr. Andrews as well, and we appreciate that. So it's going well, and I'll be coming forward to the board mid-January, end of January, to talk about a traffic program we have in line, which is going to really fix a lot of the problems in town. So I'll be discussing that with the board later.
Chief, I know, and I just also want to know for the record, Mr. Chairman, if I could, even though we won the bronze medal, I think we ate enough to get the gold medal. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, because
Yeah.
the food was very good, and I see Lieutenant Walchek in the back of the room smiling. So I think it shows also the regional capacity that our police department now has under the leadership of Chief Stanley to make a difference and to start off with the bronze, but work forward to get hopefully the silver or the gold coming up. So thank you, Chief, and your team.
And of all the officers and towns that were there, I think there was only one goal. So if we're looking for the goal next year, that's a good feather in our cap. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I might come back to my TA report after the hearing. Thank you.
Yes. Steve?
All right, we have a 7:15. We have a public hearing tonight on the application for alteration of premises for Hadley Macintosh Enterprises, Inc., doing business as the Stonebridge. Justin Hadley, manager, 5 East Boulevard, Onset, under the provisions of Chapter 138 of Mass General Law. Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Okay.
Second. Second.
Second, Kara, second. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0-0. Public
Justin
hearing is
here.
now open.
Representatives from Stonebridge here. Nobody?
Did the office receive any communication from?
Mr. Chairman, I believe they were notified that the hearing was this evening. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Okay. Since they're on here, we can close it and continue on, because I thought they did have something in the package about the addition, and he did come in today. I seen him coming in today, so.
I make a motion to, well, we have to solicit public comment first.
Any public comments on? Yes. Want to step forward? Identify yourselves to the mic.
Well, my name's Tom McManus. I live in East Boulevard, right up the street from the Stonebridge. I had questions, but if there's nobody here to answer them, but I guess one of the questions that I could ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is I was confused as to, first of all, we just heard about this hearing, the neighbors, through your agenda. None of us subscribed, apparently, to the Courier where it was posted. We had no contact with the owner of the restaurant, the people that I spoke to, so we had no idea that this was going to happen until we got your agenda in the email. But I guess the question that I could ask you, one of them is, why is this hearing being held prior to the owner going and asking for permits from building, zoning, conservation, and all the rest of them? It may be a procedural thing, but why would you give him, if assuming you would, permission to do something that he may be turned down for from conservation, zoning, or building? My other question is, this is a full-time liquor license establishment. that is not open full-time. He's open, by his own admission, 5 days a week from 5 o'clock till 9 p.m. or whatever, which is one question of itself. Why isn't he open full-time? And if he is that busy that he feels the need to expand, why isn't he open full-time? There's other questions about parking and what exactly are his plans, but since he's not here, he can't answer them. I've got several questions, or we have several questions, is what I should say. But I guess those two, I would ask if you could answer them. Why this hearing now prior to the other boards and commissions, and why isn't he open full-time with a full liquor license?
Mr. Andrews, first.
Mr. Chairman, I believe this was an effort by Justin to get his plan up before the Board of Selectmen. It doesn't mean that it's going to be approved at this particular time. The hearing could be kept open. And once again, I don't know that, in talking earlier tonight, that he's pulled any permits at this particular juncture. He might have just wanted to get a sense of the board as to what their feelings might be. Certainly issues such as parking and the hours of operation we can check into and get further information out to you on that.
All right, but his hours of operation now, I mean, he's a full-time liquor license. He should be open 7 days a week. 5 days a week?
No.
Mr. Chairman, that's not necessarily accurate. The liquor
Holt.
license was issued. It is a year-round liquor license, not a
Right.
full-time liquor license.
Right, okay. Sorry.
And I've been there 7 years, and he's never been open on a Monday or a Tuesday. I believe he's open Wednesday through Sunday.
Right, correct.
And on the other nights, he's open late. I know Friday nights is late, Saturdays is late.
All right, I guess I was...
Only because I've been in there, that's all I know. I don't.
Yeah, I guess,
But I
you're
believe
right.
that's on his license, Tom.
It is that he has
I
those
believe-
limited hours?
I believe that he has his hours on that license. He's never been open on a Monday
Okay.
or a Tuesday. But he's open Wednesday through Sunday.
Well, that again would go to the question of that if he feels the need to expand, why wouldn't he expand his hours of operation?
Well, I think you'd have to ask him that.
Right.
I don't want to speak for him.
Other questions from the board?
Could we check that, though, if that is his hours of operation on his license?
Mr. Chairman, I'll check that first thing.
Well, Ms. Begley, you have anything? Okay. We'll go right around.
I do, thank you, Chairman Cruz. I have some of the same concerns, that we have just a plan here from an architect. I have questions about how the fire department feels about this, how the police department feels about this. There'll be parking issues. I mean, it's a significant expansion, the existing bar from 8 seats to 20. And then the outside porch, what kind of egress is there? Is there a building permit? I mean, all of those, I have multiple questions that I think that my personal opinion is that we should continue this hearing to a date certain.
Mrs. Winslow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In terms of the application coming to us first, we had it done by another establishment backwards where they got all their permits and then they came to us and we had some issues with the setup and things of that nature. So us approving the expansion is not an indication that they're going to be approved by any other board or commission. We're licensing the expansion of the service of the liquor solely. And we may put conditions on that expansion, such as there needs to be an employee posted at the outdoor egress, and we've done that in certain cases. But I do agree with Mrs. Begley that the business owner does need to come and answer our questions and give us the information that we seek before we make any affirmative decision on that. But just so that the public understands, this coming to us first doesn't mean anything other than they'll be able to get that license for that number of seats in that expansion.
That's correct. They're not asking us to build anything.
Excuse me. I think she has the floor.
Oh, and can I just mention
Yes,
that we should check the license, but I do believe we got a call about this last year, about the Monday and Tuesday closed, and it did come up last year. And I'm pretty sure this was the establishment that we checked, but we should double check and make sure it is the Stone Bridge. But I'm sure that was the one. In fact, I got a call about it last week, too. So.
Mr. Snyder, Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Chairman, I also have a number of concerns, and particularly, where the applicant isn't here to address them. But I also am questioning. I'm also questioning whether or not we have the ability to actually postpone the meeting until a date certain. Is that accurate? The hearing?
I can begin, I guess. John Cornish. Justin's the applicant. I own the building. He's on his way. We were told 7:30.
Do you have any other questions? So you just want to, right? Well, we'll keep it open. And if we don't mind, we can, you have Lynn Gay?
Well, if there are no other comments, so make a motion to adjourn the hearing until 7:30.
Motion made to adjourn to 7:30.
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 5-0-0.
Is Mr. Linwood Gay here?
He's here.
Lynn, can you come up, please? We have an opening on the Marine Resources Committee. Currently, Mr. Gay is an associate member of that committee. We also have an application from Mr. O'Rourke, who was invited tonight. Is Mr. O'Rourke here now?
No, he hasn't.
So, Lynn, if you wouldn't mind, just tell us who you are and what your interest is on advancing from being an associate member to a full member of the Marine Resource Commission.
Yeah, my name's Len Gay, and I've been an associate member for, I guess, 6 months, something like that. Haven't missed a meeting. Was late to one, but haven't missed any. An opening came up, and it was suggested I advance to full-time member.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Begley?
No, Mr. Chair, I think we already interviewed Mr. Gay when he applied as an associate 6 months ago.
Yes, I've been in a hot seat before.
That's not a hot seat, man.
It gets a little easier as you go along.
Yeah, I know.
Mrs. Winslow?
I don't have any questions. I actually like having associate positions on boards and moving those folks up, because I think you have a real grasp on what the situations are and how the board works. So I appreciate your willingness to move up the food chain there.
Well, I like the harbor. I wish there were more members from the Wareham end of it. It seems that the commission is dominated by people around Onset Harbor and not so many from Wareham.
Mr. Snyder?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
I have none. Mr. Clerk?
I don't have any questions. Thanks, Lynn.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to appoint Lynn Gay to a full-time position on the Marine Resources Commission with a term to expire June of 2013.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Kara. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Lingay.
And Mr. O'Rourke has not been interviewed by either board, so I think we'll just put that on hold, Janet, and if we could invite him back in January, that would be great. Mr. Andrews, you got something you can sneak in 3 minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'm getting good at this. Through you, I would like to move on to an update with regards to the 100th celebration, 100th year celebration of St. Patrick's Church. I'd like Father Sullivan to come forward with his contingency. Tell us about the 100th celebration. We do have a plaque. I'm saying prayers, Father. We'll be able to find it and present it to you. But it will be something.
I always like to hear somebody saying prayers.
There you go. I'm saying a lot of prayers, but in this particular one, if you could tell us about it. I know we corresponded and you work with our office on it, and it was a very prestigious occasion on behalf of the church.
I would just like to introduce, Maureen Crocker and David Murphy, members of the Parish Council, also here with me tonight. On May 23rd of 2011, the parish celebrated our 100th anniversary. History of the parish actually goes back much further to 1833, when Bishop Fenwick, BoS and Bishop Benedict Fenwick visited the area, met with some Irish immigrants. They met in a tavern, I'm told. In 1865, the Catholic population purchased a former Baptist church on High Street that served as the mission church of Corpus Christi Parish in Sandwich until 1911, when the parish was established officially. In 1940, the present church structure was built. The parish has a membership of over 1,600 families here in Wareham. We have about 350 children in our religious faith formation program. The parish, besides taking care of the spiritual needs of its members, helps the community with providing our facilities for various community groups. We also have our St. Vincent de Paul Society has a food pantry where we service from 50 to 80 times, unfortunately, clients during once each week. Have a meal, a friendship meal every Wednesday noontime for whoever comes, and would like to share a meal and fellowship with other community members. And so we're happy and proud to be a member of the Wareham community, and look forward to being members of the community for very many years to come.
Father Sullivan, thank you very much. And I will personally deliver that plaque to you in the morning. I apologize.
You want to come by on Christmas? The masses are at 4, 6, and midnight, 10 a.m. in the morning.
What time is confessional at? We might want to know that.
6 to 8, Friday evening.
Okay. Thank you, Father.
You're going to need extended hours.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. And thank you through you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your hard work on an issue that affects us all, particularly at this time of the year, on homelessness in Wareham, being part of the Council of Pastors and various religious organizations that have helped us out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Good health, happiness, and prosperity in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you. How was that, Mr. Chairman? Was that 3 minutes?
That was good.
Yeah, good job.
See ya. All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we reopen the public hearing.
Motion made by Steve,
Second.
second by Kara to reopen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0-0.
Hey, Justin, if you'd just talk real close in there and state your name for the record and tell us what the application is about.
Hi, my name is Justin Hadley, and I'd first like to apologize. I had the wrong time to show up. But, I'm not sure if anything's been covered yet. But, yeah, we are applying for an alteration of our premises by adding a porch, which is 14 feet by 50 feet off the back overlooking the marina. And it would be over an existing parking lot. And apparently this porch used to exist prior to my being there. And so it's almost like it's being rebuilt. And then we would like to extend the existing bar around the kitchen. Right now I have a horseshoe-shaped dining room around my kitchen. And there is a bar presently on the back. And we would like to just add on another side around the kitchen of the bar. So it'd be almost like a horseshoe bar around the kitchen, but just going 2/3 of the way around. And that would add approximately 12 bar stools. And then also on the proposal is another bathroom. We would like to try to put in a more accessible bathroom for handicapped, unisex bathroom. That's pretty much it, right there.
Are you ready, Mr. Winslow? I see you. Bending over there, ready to go, sir. Go ahead.
Are you sure you can put in a unisex bathroom? I thought they had to be male or female, unless they were a family bathroom.
Well, we do have existing bathrooms that are upstairs. And it's a multi-use bathroom as of right now.
Oh, okay.
So we have men's, a women's room, and another unisex bathroom, and there is a long-range plan where possibly what we'll do is have separate bathrooms in the basement for the marina, and then upstairs will be the bathrooms for the restaurant. But as far as the timetable for that, we're still in, we have a lot on our plate trying to accomplish what we're doing here. So this is try to alleviate some of the present issues that we have, even though we still have bathrooms for each sex.
My next, thank you. My next question is the parking. If we add an additional 20 seats,
Yeah.
and we figure people come 2 together, where are those cars going to park?
Right. And
Can I address that?
Sure.
I'm John Cornish. I own the building, the property. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. And we have a good-sized parking lot now that is not utilized. In the middle of the summer, Saturdays are the only day that parking lot's ever full. And most of the things that we're proposing are typical of Onset. They're going to be people that came by boat or people that are already in town. And pretty much people walk to all of their destinations once they're in town. But the parking lot we have now houses something like 30 cars. Out front, we have access to, I haven't counted them lately, but it's 10 or 12 spots. And typically, Onset's been a walk to it. I get these questions all the time about the marina, but we never have a problem. But we're not really trying to create more people in town, just give them another choice of places to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the proposal that we are going to submit to the building department the next week or so, I just finally got the final design, includes parking underneath the building where it's not being done now, so it actually adds 5 more spots. And we're not going to take away any spots if we do get to put our proposed porch on the back. We're going to park underneath that.
Mr. Cornish, and I'm glad you brought up the porch because this leads into my final question. The porch is in the back of the building, and will there be entrances or exits from that porch directly to the parking or can somebody come into the restaurant or leave?
There is now, and there still will be.
Okay.
There's already a very small porch there. I've got a picture of the property the way it was laid out when I bought it, and it shows the old porch and the porch that was there. I could pass it around if you guys wanted to see it.
How many people can sit on the porch now?
Well, the gentleman that made this design, he put right now on the porch,
Yeah.
probably 6 or 8.
So if you have a staff member who's inside, kind of going between inside and outside, it's not that difficult to really watch over half dozen or so people.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are going to be able to sit in the expanded porch?
Best case scenario, if we did it the way he designed, which we don't intend to, is 50 more people.
50?
Right.
So, just so you understand, Mr. Cornish, our concern is obviously with people egressing from the porch with liquor or egressing from the porch in an intoxicated state and driving a vehicle, which I'm sure is a concern of yours also, because the liability to that in Massachusetts is quite great. So I want to ensure that it's a lot harder for someone to keep an eye on 50 people than it is 6 or even 8. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, my perspective is different than Justin's. My perspective is that I have a very large investment in the marina. And the restaurant, no offense to Justin, is a very small portion of that property's value and worth to me.
Mm-hmm.
So if we experience any problem with the things that you're concerned with, it won't be there anymore. That doesn't assure you anything right now, but the restaurant hasn't posed any problem to date. There is an egress that's been very well controlled now from his bar. Actually, the visibility is going to be better because we're going to put sliders in a place where it can be seen. The whole porch can be seen from. I too am concerned about that, but I think we're addressing it the best we can, and we're going to control that spot very carefully. Again, it's more important to me to keep the marina functioning properly and not have any problems than the restaurant making more money.
Well, and I understand and appreciate that, and just so you understand, I'm not saying these things because I'm looking to make your life difficult or hurt Mr. Hadley's business. But we have, the 5 of us who sit up here have a great responsibility with these liquor licenses, and we're going to help ensure that this doesn't happen because that's our responsibility. You have a great location. It's a beautiful marina. It's a great place to go, and I know for myself and my colleagues, I'm sure, want to see businesses succeed in the community, and we want to assist, do what we can. But certainly, we have to be very careful when it comes to these types of things. And we've had these situations in that area before, and we've managed to deal with them with certain restrictions on the expanded license. And that's
sure.
what
that was going to be my next statement. If you have restrictions that you want to put on this, we're going to try to. Justin's going to try to make money, and I'm going to try to keep running a nice place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we have any problems with any of that.
Oh, good, because I do have a couple in mind, but I'm going to let my colleagues speak first.
Mr. Snyder?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Selectman Winslow actually touched upon a few of the issues that I had, and I'm just curious, how many exits are there currently at the establishment?
Presently, there are 3.
There are 3.
Yeah, and I would like to say that the back door exit has a sign on it that says emergency exit only. And our customers respect that. And the marina goers are the only ones that use that door because it's a kind of like an unsaid or a said thing to them because we see them so often that they are welcome to use that door because it goes right off the porch of their boats. Whereas the regular customers, that sign pretty much is the stop sign for them. Only in the case of an emergency can they use that door.
Is the door alarmed?
The door is, it's got a crash bar on it. If someone goes through the door, a fire alarm does not go off.
Okay. And currently you have 6 employees, is that correct?
It changes from the seasonality, but currently, yes.
Okay. And how do they work throughout the day? How many are on is it a shift? Is it all at once? 6? You have 6 people?
Well, well, this time of year is one of those years where it's batten down the hatches and survive. So what we do right now is, like, during the midweek, I'm the chef, I'm a chef owner, so I'll have 1 person in the back with me and 1 server, so we'll only be 3 strong. Whereas on the weekend, we will double up in both areas of the front room and the back. So it's 6, but in the summer we will employ roughly 15 people. And then there's more like 6 in the back and 6 up front. It's 4 servers, 3 servers, 1 bartender, and a door person, and so on.
Okay.
And bussers as well.
Okay, so I guess my question is how many people are actually physically in the restaurant typically at one time working
Employees?
employees?
On average, I would put it at 7 or 8.
7 or 8. And you think that approximately an additional 50 people will be entering your store, 50 customers, over the hours that you're open per day?
I think it will be just July and August where we would actually even reach capacity, and we haven't been at capacity until this summer. So it's really, this is something where we're, it's typically, like I expanded before in the past, my sales went up 25%. I would expect a porch to bring in more draw. Whether we're going to be full at capacity, I'm not sure, because as Kara said, the parking is sometimes an issue, although I do have a lot of people who walk there. So we might be entering it into more capacity than what is really what people would be able to get there for, unless people start walking. But also the economy of Onset has crashed, and I did have a lot of hotels that I'm hoping that will reinvent themselves, and all the bed and breakfast basically went under except for a handful, and Wicket's being closed was 15 rooms, and that's affected my business. All those people used to walk over to my place, and so I'm hoping that when that place gets up and running again, that we can cater to a lot of those customers that are staying there. I think I'm getting off topic for that.
Okay.
But,
So how many people will you have on the floor that are tips trained at one time? What's the least amount and the most amount?
Well, seeing the growth that we would have, I would expect 4 servers in the present dining room in July, August, and then we would need an additional, I would say, 2 servers outside, so that would put us at 6 servers. I typically have 2 busters in the summer and the high months, so I would expect to need, because it's a little further from the kitchen, 2 busters instead of 1 out there. So I would expect 4 additional staff members in the height of the summer running the outdoors. And there might be issues, so it could be 3 to 4 servers out there depending on the distance from the kitchen and how long it takes for the service to get there. So yeah, possibly 3, at most 3 servers, 2 busters additionally, and then in the back I would expect 2 more people in order to expedite the food to the additional 40, 45 people.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Begley? Mr.
Thank-
Holmes?
Hey, Justin, how are you?
Good evening.
You've had quite a history there, haven't you?
I've been there 8 years now.
And you suffered through the seasonal liquor licenses, and finally last year, through the jobs bill, we were able to secure a full-time license. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And the fact that you're looking to expand some. Oh, sorry. I don't mind starting that again. Can you hear me now?
I heard you.
Your history has been a interesting one with the town. You had a cordial license for a while, and then through the jobs bill last year, you were able to secure a full liquor license, correct?
Yes.
And I noticed the sign. As you know, I live up the street, so it's easy for me. And I have noticed an uptick in business there. I've been in a few times myself, as you know, and I enjoy going there. The one comment I would make about the porch, John, is that unless the porch has changed since the last time I was there, I don't understand how you could get 8 people out there now. Nobody actually sits out there and eats, do they?
No. Right now that porch has only been used for the marina people.
Right.
It's
People
been-
coming up to the bathroom or to the laundry room,
Right.
or
We
some
have,
people come in the
Well,
restaurant that way.
I mean, the porch as it exists today, yeah, we don't utilize, but we're
that-
looking to, expand that porch out.
that porch is going to stay the same way, and the only way that egress is going to get used is if they walk back into the restaurant and then out onto it.
Right. So that porch today, because I thought I heard you say 8 to Mrs. Winslow. Today there are 0 people that eat out there.
That eat
Correct.
dinners there. There's been 2 tables out there with 4 chairs each, but it's been for the tenant or the marina to sit on. It
I
hasn't
know I
been
went
part
out
of the
that
restaurant.
door. I went out that door one night about 4 years ago, and I had a cigarette on that porch.
Oh, no.
And next thing I knew, I was getting a phone call at my house from Jim, scolding me
Right.
for being out on that porch. So I know the porch is open. But see, I thought that door was locked. And we go in, I sit facing that door. It says emergency exit only. So I've never tried to go out that door.
You can't open it from the outside.
Right, it has to be open from the inside.
Yeah.
So, I think that what you're trying to do here is great. I know that, we've had several business people in and visitors who've stayed at the inn at Onset Bay. And it was very nice for them to be able to walk over and have dinner, as you said before. And the lady there really recommends your restaurant highly, as do we. So
That's good.
It worked out well for them. But, I'm having a difficult time visioning the porch. If you're sitting there along that wall now, it would be a porch outside that wall, correct? Just in
Yeah,
the
do
front.
you have this paper? Did that come in your
That's
packet?
what I'm looking at, yeah.
Yeah, if you look
So
at
that
the
would be like where
if you look at the floor plan, the way it's laid out, the upper left-hand side is a slider. See the big 2 lines? And that's
There we go.
coming from the restaurant. Then the porch that you were just talking about are the striped lines to the
Okay.
right.
Got
And the door that you were just talking about is open in that drawing on that striped portion.
All right.
All right, so there's all windows along that wall already. There's the slider that's going to be even more visibility. And I assume that the building department's going to make us put some sort of way in an emergency for people to get from the new porch onto the old porch. But our desire is not to change the use of that now.
So the access to the porch is through the middle of the restaurant,
Yes.
not through that back door or from the
No.
outside. This
That's-
porch is isolated by itself,
That's
Yes.
correct.
and there's no exit off of the porch.
Not per se. That stairway is there now,
Yeah.
and I assume that the building department is going to want that, and the fire department is going to want that as an emergency exit.
Some kind of
And
if there's a fire in the.
It's still going to be there, and people could get to it, but the idea is to not have it accessible from the restaurant customers.
And they would use more to address the parking question that's come up a few times. They are going to use that parking lot more, and you're actually providing additional spaces, John, under the porch.
Yes, under the new portion and the old portion that's been there, we're going to be able to park 5 more cars underneath that.
Well, very good. Thank you very much. Good luck.
And thank you, and I want to applaud you for
Mr.
trying to
Cruz,
increase your business and make the town of Wareham and Onset a better place to come to visit. We are here to look at this to see if we're going to grant you the permission to do it. And you had already mentioned you need to go to the zoning and planning before anything is final. So ours is to are you qualified and able enough? And it's not us to tell you how to run your business. It's you to know how. You're the business person. You know whether to put 5 people in there, 10 people. If you want to make money, you know how to do it. So what we need to do as a board is to look at this. Are we going to accept it when it's all done and approved with the zoning and the building before it comes to us? Because looking at this, it's still vague.
Well, this was only
Right,
here,
it's still vague. So when you have everything together and the zoning is good, if we agree on this now, then we'll have to wait until the zoning comes back and the planning board. Because you admit yourself there's discrepancies in it, and we need to have it updated.
well, what Justin's here for tonight is just to update his liquor license. They require him to do that. So he's sharing with you what is on his liquor license, because he couldn't do this. He couldn't get the liquor license, and we couldn't get the permits and do it unless he had kept his liquor license up. So he's sharing with you information that it's probably premature, but he needed to do it in this manner so that he can keep operating.
Well, his liquor license has already been approved. If he changes the face of the building, then he has to come and reapply with the new print. You already have a license to operate as you are now. When you get the building permit and you change the face of what was on the original permit, then you have to renew it. You have to come back and give us a new print. Right now, your footprint of the building coincides with your license that you have now. If you change it, that's when you have to come before us and change it, because ABC wouldn't allow it. Well, they have a rule and regulation on it. If you change the face of the property, then you have to recount.
When I did an alteration of premises prior, maybe 4 years ago, when I added on the back room, and the way I went about it, or it worked out, was I went and I did this process first, and I was approved for, you know, what was going to be provided to the town as far as seating capacity and alcohol service to the population. And then it was the building department that getting the building permit was when I needed to go and get all of the other pieces of the puzzle in order to get that building permit. But, you know, either way today, I don't know how we want to go about it, but, you know, I just want to be ready for the floodgates in May.
Well, I think, like, if you go back to the planning department, you're going to have to go to the planning department anyways, get the approval, get everything okay. Looking at it now, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but you're a businessman, you're willing to take the step to increase your property and increase the viability of Onset. It's a good idea. You're running it and not I, but we just got to make sure everything is done right. Your license has already been approved. I think it has, and like you say, if you change the face of it, the outprint, then you need to reapply, so we'll leave it go for that.
I had said, oh, not no.
Oh.
When would I say no, Mr. Chair? He thought I said no when I said, oh, when it was my turn. And he skipped me.
Mr. Bigler?
Sorry, I thought you said
I said, oh. Okay, Janet. Mr. Hadley, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
I absolutely want businesses to succeed, but I want business to succeed, and I want the citizens that surround your establishment to have a good quality of life. And as you know, parking in Onset.
Yeah.
No question. So by looking at your application, it looks like, what's your capacity now?
I am 77.
You want to increase by 60.
Well, 50.
How so?
50.
It says on here, expanding existing bar from 8 seats to 20, so that's 12, and then 50 out in the porch, so 60, 62.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually, when I expand the bar, those 12 bar seats are actually taking the place of dining seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be the maximum capacity that you're proposing?
With the bathroom, I subtracted 3 seats for 15 square feet per person, so I subtracted 3 from the inside, so I went to something like 74 or something. So it would be 50 outside and 74 inside, if I'm correct in
So
my memory.
124 would be your capacity.
I believe that's what
From 70,
roughly where I was at, if I was.
from 70 something.
From 77, yes.
Okay. And for parking, I mean, I'm familiar with the area, but there are those that maybe summer people or whatever, I don't know how familiar they are. And it's very difficult to follow hearing 5 spaces here, 6 spaces there, 3 spaces, okay, we free up 1 space. I think that having a plan for parking in writing would be crucial. If you're going to have a capacity for 124, even though you say that some are going to come from boats, that's all well and good, but how many are going to be coming? I mean, and some people are day trippers, so they come with their cars to their boats, and then they might use your establishment.
Right.
So I think it's crucial. I mean, 124, you're talking about maybe, 50, 60 cars.
maybe we could draw up something where I could give you a drawing of each space, so we could, you would have a record of each parking space, and there are a significant amount of walkers, and I do see the economy coming back.
No, and I understand, and I absolutely, because when my family lived on Shell Point, we walked up that way.
Yeah.
So
I think people
because
oftentimes
it was
walk to avoid parking.
absolutely, because you don't want to be
Yes,
driving
yeah.
around. But I think that you're also permitted for live entertainment, are you not?
We're permitted for acoustic entertainment.
Okay, acoustic entertainment.
Yeah, for 3 to 4 people. So, but we hold that permit, but I haven't used it in a long time.
Okay, but you have it.
But I have it, yeah.
Right. So, and I think that the gentleman that spoke earlier was concerned that the neighborhood hadn't been notified. However, there was something in the newspaper, and direct abutters were notified, and there were only 3 direct abutters. But I think that, I do have concerns. I have concerns about parking. I'd like to hear what the police department would think about almost doubling a capacity in that area. The fire department, definitely. And, you're going to have to kind of go with building zoning, and I don't know if it would be conservation, but, I think you still have a long road ahead of you.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what sort of information do you need, what would be the appropriate documents, because I'm just going to go right down to my punch list. You know what I mean? So if I pull together a plan with parking and I go to each of these departments and get a sign off on each of on it, would that be what would be acceptable?
Well,
Possibly.
as Mr. Cruz said, through you, Mr. Cruz said when you change the face of your building and you have to reapply for your license, I think significant capacity, I don't know, I think a significant capacity change, those are going to be hurdles that are going to go through capacity with the fire marshal and the police department.
When you say I have to reapply for my license, I guess I'm lost.
Okay, when I said reapply, all it is a change of your footprint of the building.
Right.
You have when you applied, you had this footprint.
Right.
Now, you're redoing it and you have this.
Now, I have applied for an alteration of premises to the existing premise, and that is what I don't understand why I would have to apply, I guess.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
And what you have to do, first of all, you have to go to the building department. Because once you go there, they'll look at your print, and they'll let you know the parking, what you have and what you don't have. If the bathroom, I heard you mention the bathrooms. Here, all I see is the porch, and it's not, the one I have, it's not fully addressed. You should be able to look at it and know just by the print what's happening. Right now, it's vague. You need to go to the planning department, find out what's going on. They'll go over it with you.
If I could, I think we're off track. What we're here for, what Justin's here for, I'm here just to support him and give you guys any information about the building you wanted. But what Justin's here to do is he's applying back to the ABCC for his this year's license, and he is making some changes, and he wants to make other changes, which are subject to all the boards in this town. But if he doesn't do it during this process right now, when the time comes, we could have all the permits pulled, we could have the building up, the porch up, and still he wouldn't be able to utilize the porch. So he's just included that in his description of what he's looking for down the road to you people. And the planning board, the fire department, the coastal people, everyone's going to have a shot at this. So that's not really why we're here, to get that all approved.
So really what you're looking for is a favorable position from the Board of Selectmen.
And for you guys to let him keep his license, but write it this way so in the event that he gets all these things, he can use them.
When you say keep his license, he already has his license.
He has to re-up for it, right? Am I correct?
Well, we renewed it, so it's good for
And
2012.
he renewed it with these changes.
Yeah, and I would just like to say that in my application to the ABCC, I went to the building on the piece that's for the town. I showed the building inspector the plans. I showed the and they signed it. I showed the fire department the plans, and they signed it. I showed the electrical inspector the plans. He signed it. I showed the gas inspector the plans. He signed it. So every department has signed this alteration of premises as it stands, although we do not have the permits in place for the actual construction of it. They did sign off on the plan as it exists, as John said, in relation to alcohol service and safety as far as the fire department. There wasn't much for electrical.
Excuse me. What they signed off on was the building you have as of now for the license that you're asking for. How can they sign off for something that isn't even built?
That's
They
right.
can't do it.
They looked at
That's
the
right.
plans.
No.
If they look at the plans, they cannot sign off. If they do, then I need to know something about how they're doing. I've been in construction all my life. I'm not bragging, but I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, I've been there all my life.
Yeah, they didn't
cannot
sign
sign
on
off on anything until it's all completed. What they signed off when you went for your application, the building as it is now. Here it is right here. They went on 11/15/11.
That's on my renewal. They signed off exactly as you said.
Your renewal on the building as it is
On my
now.
renewal of my license. But I also then went to them on the alteration of premises, and they signed off on that document as well. And that, as John said, it's not
If they
the building
did, then what I
department.
need to do is take a look at it, or have Mr. Andrews take a look at it and see if it's correct, because if something's a screw, then we need to know about it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could make a suggestion. You've presented a plan. Obviously, there's a lot of homework to be done, as has been indicated. Why don't we make an appointment to have you meet with the building department and the relative departments so that we can go over the paperwork. I've talked to John about his plans. I believe, as Selectman Holmes has pointed out, once again, public safety taking a front row, if you will. Have a meeting, talk about what has been approved and what hasn't been approved, come back to the board, and, fully vet this out. The commissions and boards of the town will have to make their feelings known and set that meeting up. If, you're shooting for some time in May, we've got plenty of time to get you going on it, and let it be fully vetted out. Let people talk about what's positive, what's negative, what they feel about it, Mr. Chairman. That's my suggestion.
And that's a good idea, and I can see where you're coming from. You probably want to get approval because you don't want to invest $20,000, $30,000 and find out the board is going to, take your license away or not take it or not approve it as signed. So if we want to, okay, I'll get to you in a second. So if you want a sign of approval, we can look at it, but this is still a public meeting, and we had a fellow up earlier. I don't know if he wants to come back up, but Mr. Holmes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm an onset resident. And with all due respect to Justin, I'm going to make a statement. Don't throw anything at me. This young man operates pretty close to the smallest restaurant in Onset. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Yes. He's the only restaurant in Onset that will provide 40 parking spaces. We have all the other restaurants, Mark Anthony's, Pier View, go right down the list, the cafes, all those restaurants in town, not one parking place provided by the owner. We have Bay Point Country Club, who has a function facility, huge parking. Stevie's Onset Resort. I keep saying review. It's like a Vegas review, I guess. I don't even think Stevie has 35 parking spaces there. So to keep hitting on this parking thing for this young man, I just think that's unfair. We live in a seaside community. You park your car and you walk. That's what you do. At least this establishment gives you 30 today, plus I think there's 4 in the front. There's some handicap in the front there, right? He's the only restaurant in town that provides parking for his customers. And because he wants to add a few customers, we're going to make him come up with all these parking spaces. Where is that going to come from?
Mr. Holmes, I don't think the question is whether the parking is there or not. He's got to do his homework, get the paperwork done, and then come to us. The planning department, like you said, if you're looking for a vote of confidence, if we want to do that, because I'm all for business.
Right.
If I'm all for business, I'm for the businessman. I'm not here to tell you how to run your business, and neither one of us here should tell you how to run your business. That's your business to run as you feel. Now, if you go across the line, if you read the rules and regulation ABC, I do not need to stay here and repeat what's already in the rules and regulations. We have the chief of police right there. If you do something wrong, he's going to get on you. And I know you won't, because carrying liquor out or in, that's normal procedures of doing the business. You've got to know if you can and if you can't.
Right.
But I can see where you're going. I can see where you're coming from. Parking is not the issue. The idea is we need to go through this properly, and
I'll go to the departments and I'll put together something that can hopefully put us all in a better place in terms of understanding of what's going to happen, whether everyone is on the same page in terms of the ability of the town to to have a restaurant that could be significantly larger, and the stresses that might be created from that, and whether how we could approach those issues and come up with some solutions, if or some reassurance, and we'll just take it from there.
Mrs. Winslow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was looking for the blue book because I left my bag at home. Does anybody have a blue book with them tonight? There's not in the filing cabinet. I believe, and this was the issue with Stevie B's sports resort last year, that they have to come to us first because they can't do any of this. We hold the liquor license. We're the licensing authority. If they're going to make these changes, we have to approve those changes before they can do it. Because otherwise, as we saw happen last summer after the outdoor deck was built, that process happened backwards. But in addition, as the licensing authority, just to be clear, it's if you hold an entertainment, some form of entertainment license and things like that, if that becomes an issue for the immediate neighbors, then you may not be holding that license in the future, just so you know. But it's not up to us to determine whether your plans are valuable or good or bad. It's up to us to ensure that the liquor that you're serving in the establishment is handled appropriately, that your staff is properly trained, and that people aren't doing what they're not supposed to be doing, and that you, as the manager, are responsible for that.
Yeah. I may say that I've been there 8 years, and I've seen people be irresponsible in that neighborhood, owners, and they typically last 3 years, and then they're gone. And I would like to say that my neighbors are my customers, and I recognize them as number one in my business. And if I do anything that upsets them, I've maybe once or twice in my experience in 8 years had some issues where I've always, usually they come right to my door. I say, come on in. And I said, here's my number. If anything, call me. And maybe I've had 1 or 2 calls over the time of 8 years, and if the music's too loud, I immediately turn it down, or I just shut it off, because those customers around me are my best customers, and I adjust to them, and I try to be a responsible owner in that neighborhood.
And I appreciate that, but I believe that, and I wish I could find the book because the one time I leave my bag at home. I do believe that we have to take some form of action on this.
Good. What I'd like to do is open it back up. Well, it's open to the public. Have the public come back up. If there's anybody in the public who wants to come up. We have two hands.
3. There's one
3?
on this side, too.
Okay. We'll start with the front on the right.
Hi, Brenda Ekstrom, Precinct 2. I think the Stonebridge is a wonderful place. However, my understanding is that the number of parking spaces would be determined by zoning. Zoning bylaws determine you need a half a parking space or a parking space per so many seats. And I would think that Selectman Begley, when she was talking about going to zoning and conservation, I think because of where it's located and everything, it probably would go through those steps. And while I support them getting it, I just want to be clear. Their license is renewed. They are getting their license renewed, regardless of whether you approve this or not approve it. And actually, approving it or not approving a change wouldn't be your jurisdiction. So I would think that perhaps seeing this as a public hearing, you may want to continue it, say, till the first meeting in February, which would give him a chance to go to zoning and conservation to get their approvals on it, or at least get the hearing in the works if there is something because of that area. As Mr. Holmes said, he may ask for a variance on the number of parking spaces because of the extenuating circumstances, with it being a neighborhood, with it being the boat, the boats coming in and out. So I support it, but I think that he probably has to go through those. And I just wanted to make sure that Mr. Hadley knew that his license is going to be renewed, and for everyone to know the license couldn't be renewed because you can do an alteration of the premises at any time with a renewed license. It isn't dependent upon this. So let everyone out there know that you can still go there and get a good meal.
Left-hand side. Cape Cod shirts first. We're working our way back.
Hi, John. Good. I know John. I don't know Justin. I've never been in there. But again, my name's Tom McManus. I live right up the street on East Boulevard. A couple of points. I see the green cards there. I'm one of his neighbors. I was never notified. I assume you only had to address his abutters, but his only abutter is John in the town of Wareham. To the other point, the other neighbors were notified either. To the point about parking, he doesn't have those parking spaces. John has a marina with about 59 slips in it. By his own words, he has 30 spots. He doesn't have enough spots for his own boat owners. Justin has 4 parking spots out front. I live in that neighborhood. Parking is an issue. You may walk from your house, but people are walking by our house or parking on our lawns, and not just for Justin. I mean, Justin's a good business as far as I know. I haven't been in there since it's been Cafe Uva. He doesn't know me. But his neighbor is closed, Wickets, and hopefully that'll reopen as a business too, and hopefully we'll get a better owner there this time than we've had in the past, but that would simply compound the problem. So parking is an issue down there. Don't let anybody kid you, because we live there. Just the questions I wanted to ask before. One, why weren't we notified? You're increasing your capacity by over 50% from going from 74 to 124 people. That's a big jump. You had said that you were going to make either the new or an existing bathroom more handicapped accessible. Well, it either has to be accessible or it isn't. So is the whole building going to be fully accessible? The parking we've already talked about, but the additional capacity, assuming John's boat people are all there, which he has signs up for, by the way, right now that says parking for marina people only, permit use only, 1 per boat, and because he knows he doesn't have enough parking spaces for all of his boats. There are 4, maybe 6 spaces out front with the handicaps. That parking's got to come from someplace. Where are they going to go? So that question has already been asked. The porch, is it going to be open on the outside, open, like Captain Al's, for example, open out to the water? Is it going to be for eating only, or is it going to be a drinking that people could just sit there and drink? Whatever the answer to that is, how is the noise going to be mitigated? Not just for that surrounding area, but that's going to now project across the East River onto North Water Street and the side streets there. What kind of mitigation is going to be for just the regular crowd noise? Never mind acoustic music, which he's already said he's gotten complaints in the past and turns it down and all the rest of that. Now you're going to add an extra 50 people or so to the restaurant. How's that noise going to be mitigated? In his employee count, he never mentioned bartenders in his head count. He mentioned buses and cooks and waitresses and all the rest of it, but he never mentioned bartenders. Your question, I think, was how many of them have been tips trained. That was never specifically answered either. The entertainment license, I guess, was already answered, but the question then becomes, is entertainment going to be placed out on the deck? That's bad news. That would be absolutely bad news, other than just normal crowd noise for people who are either eating or eating.
If I may say, I will not put entertainment on that deck.
Okay, that's fine. My other question, I had asked this question before, and I didn't know the answer to it, but you're open 5 days a week. If business is so good that you need to expand, why don't you open 7 days a week for longer hours? You got a year-round license. You fought like hell to get it. So why isn't one of your first steps to do is to expand your hours of operation now to 7 days a week?
Excuse me, I think I had mentioned earlier, he's a businessman, and we're not here to run his business. We issued a license, and he puts on the license the hours of operation. We either okay it or we don't. And,
okay, that's fine. So the questions are, parking is an issue, noise mitigation. We haven't seen the plans for the deck, but I had assumed that the deck, if it went out the back, would be supported on the ground below, which would take away parking spaces, but apparently they're going to design it to the sense that it's not going to be supported. But parking noise are the big issues for us right now. John's a good guy as far as the marina. I don't know, Justin. Every problem, anytime we've had a problem down at the marina, which have been few, we talk to John, and John takes care of the problems. That's never an issue. Justin, as far as I know, runs a great establishment. Everybody that I know says it's a great restaurant. I want to see him succeed too, but I don't want any more problems in my neighborhood. When I built my house right up the street in 2007, it took me 18 months to go through the permit process with conservation and everything else to just get it built, because I'm across the street from the water and they're right on the water. So if I have to go through 18 months and he wants to be up and running by May, and this is building, conservation, zoning, all the Indian chiefs had a kick in it. And that's fine. I was willing to go through the process, and we did. But I think it's optimistic to think that this is going to get done by May.
Thank you very much. And like you said, we already mentioned all the departments, so I think we have one more in the back of the room.
Alan Slavin, Oak Street. Before I start, John, how many slips are you registered for?
59.
59. Just to clarify, we have two businesses there. First, before I even start, the restaurant is really a business worthwhile, not just to keep, but to grow, number one.
Get a little closer.
But John has 59 slips. Our zoning laws require us to provide, for the marina alone, half a slip per boat. So if there's 30 parking spaces, virtually the marina, by our own laws, that parking lot's full. The issue is going to be, with the expansion, will it trigger a site plan review if it requires more than 10 parking space increase? What I would suggest that the board, as well as Justin, work on is to look at what the existing areas around for additional parking, and maybe come up with something where we have some kind of valet service, because we're talking about taking the onset pier, converting it to paid parking spaces, opening up some of the parking up at the school at Hammond. And I think he and the town should work together, because we should be able to find a way to make this work. I don't believe he's going to be able to do this with the existing area there, with the parking situation, with the neighbors being as volatile as they are about parking. I think it's going to require some work from everybody here, and I would hope everybody would try and do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any more questions, we'll close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made by Kara.
1 second.
Up.
Did we want to close it? Do we want to continue it?
We have to close, okay.
Do we want to
Close it and then-
continue it till February, when Mr. Hadley has more information?
Well, let's close it, and then we can vote, we need to vote on what has to be done. Kara made a motion.
Well, we can close the public hearing
Right.
portion, and if we want to continue our discussion of it for other information,
Mr. Cruz, if we continue it till February, that way when Mr. Hadley comes back with any of the other information that he said that he was going to seek out, then the public would be able to participate, continue to participate in the process. So would the better course of action, as opposed to closing the public hearing, be to continue the public hearing until, say, the first, I don't know, till February? Because I think we're already full in January.
Well, if we vote on it tonight, we don't have to worry about another meeting. He still has to go to all the boards that's necessary, and if they don't pass it, there's nothing we can do. He won't be able to get anything. And he needs to do something to know whether he's going to go ahead or not. So a motion has been made to close it, and I need a second.
I don't care if we close it or continue it, but I do just want to say that I think some of these issues that we're delving into are outside of our jurisdiction as a licensing authority.
If I may, if we close it, does that mean it goes right to a vote? Is that what it means?
No matter how, if we close it, we got to
I
make
don't
a
think
motion
we have to vote on it, no. But
Oh, I don't think I can't make a decision for you, but I am willing to come back in February.
we could. I'd be willing to trade with you.
It cost me $500 to get here today. I don't want to pay it again.
Yeah, no, I
And it's a
understand
winter,
that.
and it's
Unless you
a
want to
struggle.
continue it to an unspecified date.
Well, my concern with continuing it to a date certain is that he's got to go a lot of places, and we can't guarantee that he's going to make it to everywhere he needs to go, get on their agendas in the month of January, and be able to come back to us. So my suggestion would be, if we want to continue it, that we continue it until Mr. Hadley notifies us that he's got all his information in place. Because it can take, quite some time to get on some of these agendas.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
If we say we continued it till the first meeting in February, and Mr. Hadley wasn't ready, we can vote to continue it again, Mrs. Winslow, I think.
Well, we can, but the public is going to come back out only so that we can sit here and vote to continue it. And I think that would get a little frustrating, which is why I suggest that we don't put it on the agenda until we know that Mr. Hadley is going to be here to present.
I'm wondering if we have to continue it to a date certain, however.
Right, and if we still have to advertise, it's going to be a couple weeks. So if we postpone to indefinite time, when he comes back, we announce it. And then,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I would think
Snipe.
in order to fully notify the public in the event that they do want to continue to comment, we would have to continue it to a date certain. Mr. Chairman, have you been given any idea as to when you'll be coming before these other boards, commissions?
We are just going to them when we get back from the news. So no, they all know about it. Now we've just got our ducks in a row. Now we can start submitting everything.
First meeting in March, and then we can continue it if need be.
Were you going to make a vote of confidence? Was that anything that was confident? No.
Unless when we close this, when we have it scheduled for another meeting, if they want to take a vote of confidence, then somebody's going to have to make a motion, and that all will be is a vote of confidence. So. No one's doing that. Okay, we need a motion on this.
Well, my motion lacked a second, so somebody needs to.
I make a motion that we postpone, that we continue this hearing until March 6, 2012.
Are you looking at your calendar?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first Tuesday in March,
That was what, March 6th?
correct?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bagley, second by Mr. Snyder, to continue to March 6th, 012.
What,
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I was waiting for you. I didn't want to speak. I was waiting
Oh,
for you to
sometimes you speak
answer
without me
back.
even acknowledging you.
No, listen, I'm
you
trying I'm trying to do a better job. Look, this is, it's getting real crazy here. And, I would think that we could continue this hearing until we hear back from Mr. Hadley, and then schedule it. I mean, I don't know that we even have to put another public notice in the paper, and then just schedule it for the following week after we hear back from him. Why a date certain and then people show up and you have a notice and he's not ready? When he hears from his boards and whatever he's doing, he'll just notify the office and we'll put it on the next agenda, or 2 weeks agenda.
Well, if there's 2 weeks,
If it happens in the beginning of February, it happens then. If it happens at the end, it happens then.
if we have
But
a
at
public,
least he's done his work and he's ready now for a full presentation back to the board.
well, we got it for March 6th. If he doesn't come in,
Or
if
he
he's not
gets it
ready for that, he still has to have the 2 weeks. No matter how he does it, he has to have the 2 weeks for us to have a public.
Well, I think, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. If he notifies the office on February 1st that he's, for example, that he's got everything he needs, we could schedule it for February 23rd or February 17th or whatever the dates are, 2 weeks out. 1/14 is 15. So, I mean, why don't we just do that? Continue. We're not postponing. We're continuing. We're continuing till we're ready to adjourn, until we're ready to come back together.
Okay, any other questions?
And it would be a posted meeting, but
Right.
when he's ready. This is all about him.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would make a suggestion that we continue this until our meeting in January.
Excuse me, I think, yeah, okay, there's a motion on the floor. There was second, this is question.
Well,
Then we'll vote on the motion.
right, but we're discussing it, right?
Right.
Because I do think that I don't know why the book isn't here, but I do think that the application comes to us at this stage for a reason. And we need to take a close look at that before we go beyond our scope.
Any other questions? Hearing none, motion made to continue to March 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, that's 5-0-0.
12. It's 12 or 13, 12. And the purpose,
We need a motion to close the public hearing.
you just continue, so you're not gonna, so the meeting is continued to the 6th. Now, and I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen, I mean, it seems to me there's something missing here. It's not, this is about an alteration of premises. That's all this is about for the Board of Selectmen on the license. That's what this is about. Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank
And
you.
good luck with your process.
Enjoy your holidays.
Sorry, Steve.
Merry Christmas. Mr. Chairman, if we go back, Mark, have you got any more?
Yes, real
Yeah.
quick. Thank you.
Back to the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring up Chief Stanley to introduce our new animal control officer, Cheryl Goviette Dill. I hope I said that right. Cheryl Goviette Dill. Did I say that right? Is that close enough? Okay. Mr. Chief.
Thank you. If I've learned anything tonight, I am not going to alter my premise. Thank you all for having us here tonight. Cheryl Goviette came on board with the Wareham Police Department on November 8th. But there's a couple things I have to bring to your attention first. I certainly have heard all of you loud and clear also, because there was a time when we were in the midst of looking for an animal control officer. There was a time when we were without one, and I can't get into all the issues because there were personnel matters involved. But when animal complaints reach the level of the Board of Selectmen, there's a problem. And when I receive phone calls at 8 o'clock in the morning from selectmen while I'm in the middle of a golf swing wanting to know what I was going to do about a dead skunk, I know we got a problem.
Raccoon.
Right. So what...
4 shots.
Yeah.
You want to get to the particulars.
So that was another matter. I got one from Mr. Holmes. That was a skunk.
You probably didn't get an eagle on that hole, Chief, right?
No, I didn't. But the fact remains that we certainly had some major problems, and it was a personnel issue that we had to wait on. There was a process we had to go through. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the community, the board, and you, Mr. Andrews, for your patience during a very difficult stretch. But especially my thanks goes to Lieutenant John Walsek, because Lieutenant Walsek commands the administrative division, and within the police department, the animal control office falls under his division. And when I received phone calls like that on a Sunday morning, what would happen was there would be a follow-up phone call to the lieutenant on the chain of command, and it went something like, I don't give a darn, a little stronger language, by the way, what you have to do, but get this taken care of. And one thing about Lieutenant Walsek is he puts the Wareham Police Department, the community, and the people of this town first in his life, and I can mean that. He is surely a dedicated employee, and I thank you publicly for the work you did over the course of those several months.
Thank you, Chief.
And if you would like to introduce our home run, and I will follow the chain of command, and I do call it a home run. We had 39 applicants, and we interviewed 6. And when we got to Cheryl, John and I looked at each other and just nodded, and she was offered the job on the spot. So why don't you go ahead, John?
She hit the ground running. We told her the job is hers to work with. We told her about the problems that sometimes we'd come in the daytime and there would be 20 and 30 calls backed up for animal control that I tried to deal with. And she took it and is already dealing with some high-profile issues, and she's got tremendously great ideas because I receive emails from her every single day, really lengthy, about telling me all our different plans. And I'm very, very, very happy to have her on board. Cheryl Gervart-Dill.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm honored to actually be here.
You have to use the microphone, I'm sorry. Real close, get real
Is
close.
this better? Okay. I'm honored to be here. I consider this closer?
Closer.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I consider this a privilege, and I really appreciate it, so thank you all. And I take my job very, very seriously. I'm concerned with making sure the community's happy, you're all happy, and the animals in the community are safe, so that's my priority. I check my phone messages frequently because I do come in the morning. There's about 25 of them. It's amazing overnight how many calls we get. And I try to make sure that I'm seen in areas where we're having ongoing problems on a daily basis, be more visible. I'm trying to open up the lines of communication with the community and deal with some of the ongoing issues that I've walked into, including rabies. We have a rabies problem here in town. Got a lot of confirmed rabid animals, and so we have a rabies clinic set up for January 21st, and the Wareham Courier will be putting that out Thursday. I go into the areas where we have rabid animals, and I go physically door to door and advise the neighbors what's going on. I'm trying to get into the school systems so I can speak to the children about the safety of approaching sick or injured animals, because a lot of times kids don't understand the fear of getting injured by a rabid animal, and they just see some animal that's hurt and injured and want to help it. I certainly am trying to do everything I can to take the pressure off of you folks and these two marvelous people sitting next to me. And I hope I can live up to your expectations.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question, Ms. Cruz. Welcome. Glad, and she's full-time? Oh, perfect. I have a couple questions. One is, you mentioned the rabid animals. Just so that people aren't scared witless, these are wild animals that are rabid. Have you had any dealings with any domestic animals that have been rabid?
At this moment in time, since I've been on, the only confirmed rabid animals are wild, skunks and raccoons, although we've had a few domesticated animals, cat and a dog, that were attacked by a rabid animal, and they're put under quarantine. And that's why I just feel it's very important to get people out there getting rabies shots. They don't understand that there's a serious situation. A lot of people are lax in that area, so I'm going to try and raise the public's awareness on the importance of that.
Absolutely. I just wanted to be sure that people didn't think that we've got rabies going through domestic dogs, cats, etc. There was a program several years ago, because where we live, we would see the bait. In fact, our dogs try to eat all of it. But they used to throw bait for the wild animals. I don't know if it was by the coalition. I don't know who did it. But they used to throw rabies-laden treats out for the wild animals. Is that program still in existence?
Actually, I already looked into that, and it was common practice on the Cape, and I spoke with the state. They advised me it's very difficult to monitor, it's very difficult to control. They don't like doing it in residential areas because of the concern of other animals getting into it and, dosage amount. And unfortunately, the areas where we do have confirmed rabid animals are extremely residential.
Right. Well, my dogs should be inoculated for the next 20 years, the amount that they ate. And my other question is, this is just a curiosity question, and you're brand new on the job. Is there much of a problem in the town with either hoarding or, and I hate to mention this, but animal fighting, to your knowledge?
I'm not sure about the animal fighting. However, I do know that there is a couple of cat issues, and I'm actually working with a couple of people that the Board of Health made me aware of, and I have one woman on Main Street who we've already been able to get her to voluntarily give up 7 of the cats, and we're working with a pet advocate to try and place those animals, and she is definitely trying to get all of the cats that she does have fixed so we won't get a compounded problem.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're
welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Welcome aboard. I need to put this in context because Rick brought it up. I'm glad he didn't mention that when Father Sullivan was here, because that wouldn't be good. But my call to him on the Sunday came after nearly a physical attack on the Thursday when I was at Sean's baseball game in New Bedford, and my daughter told this young lady that I was a selectman in Wareham. Big mistake. And this young lady went up one side of me and down the other, and I thought she was going to slap me. That's how bad it was. Just mentioning that you were from Wareham, let alone a selectman, it was very embarrassing. And she is part of the Dartmouth, I forget the name of the place, but I guess they're like Animal Central in South Coast, right? And so when I called the chief on that Sunday, we probably did share a few bad words, but I'm glad you're here. And I want to tell you that I've noticed a huge improvement, especially along Onset Avenue, where there were skunks and all kinds of stuff being killed out there. I mean, it's just, you have woods all the way up through Bay Point, right, and all the way back to Depot. So, I mean, almost daily you could go out there and find dead animals, fox. We had some raccoons out there, squirrels. So thank you very much. I think you're doing a great job. It's a noticed improvement for the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I would just like to say welcome as well. I know that from my experience, the animal control position has been a difficult one to fill and difficult to get a response from, and unfortunately our officers have done double duty for quite a long time, and I just want to express my gratitude that you're aboard, and express my gratitude to the chief and Officer Walsek for bringing you on board, and I look forward to seeing the programs that you put in place.
Thank you. I would also like to mention one of the other goals I have. I've been speaking with the clerk's office, and apparently we have a large number of animals, dogs, that are getting rabies shots, but they're not getting licensed. And they estimate over 1,000 last year. So I'm going to make that a high priority in this upcoming year. We've already worked out a letter, and I'm going to send out a letter to everybody who gets a rabies shot for their dog that's not licensed and follow up with that to try and get people on board.
Mrs. Winslow?
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Welcome. I had heard a rumor that we had a new animal control officer, but I didn't get a copy of the official letter, so I was not really sure until I saw this agenda item. It must have gotten lost in the mail. But it's a challenging job, and good luck with it, and enjoy your holidays.
Thank you very much. Well, I look forward to the challenge.
Thank you.
I want to welcome you on the team, and I know you're joining a top-of-the-line team, so just keep it up, and we'll hear good things about it. So I'm an animal lover. Mrs. Begley's animal lover, so we'll see you. Good luck on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, very much. Appreciate it.
And she's
Thank you very
sporting the new uniform, I might add.
Yes, she's looking
Thank
good. Thanks again. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks, John. Mr. Chairman, if I could continue with item 2 on the leadership team. Mr. Sullivan will hand out to you. Today was the response date for the accounting services request for qualifications that was sent out. And Mr. Sullivan has put together both a qualitative and a, I'll fill you in on the quantitative in a minute. We received 2 proposals for qualifications back. They're listed on your sheet. It was very tight. Bay State Municipal Accounting Group is one of the applicants, as well as the firm of Accounting Management Solutions out of Waltham. And you can see the scores are very tight on the comparative evaluation. We didn't, because the cutoff, I believe, Derek, what time was, like 1:30 this afternoon?
Yes.
Yes. So we had a limited time to put together, a full package on this, and the process by which this was undertaken was not only helped by the fine work of a town council and the fine work of Selectman Holmes on putting together the basis of a contract for the current firm. That contract, as you know, ends on December 31st. So moving forward, you can see it's pretty much a close point schedule on the qualitative side. On the quantitative side, by a substantial margin, the Bay State Municipal Accounting Group is the low bidder in this respect. And given the fact that we have limited meetings going forward, I'd beg your indulgence for, once again, if I had the opportunity to put a letter together, I would have. And Mr. Sullivan, I don't know if you want to add anything to this, but if you're so inclined. If not.
No, if there's any questions on the comparative evaluation, I took this off of the RFQ, so you could actually, besides having just the monetary, which I didn't look at until we'd gone through this, it was really see where's the comparison, what are you getting, whether it's the number of years with our accounting system, the number of support employees, the number of years with municipal experience. And Bay State Municipal Accounting Group did come out ahead by 1 point, which is, it's almost in a way a toss-up at that point. But they were ahead, and the monetarily they were the much better option there.
Any questions from the board? start with Mrs. Bigley and work this way.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Derek, what was it a significant financial difference with the bids? Can you share that with us?
There was. It was a difference of a little over $41,000.
More.
That AMS was more than BMAJ.
And what was the time limit on that? For what period? What period of time?
It's till the end of the fiscal year, through June 30th.
6 months.
Yes.
So this contract is from January 1st to June 30th?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Well, it raises two questions. One, in that contract, is this Bay State group here tonight? Are they here tonight?
They're not here tonight, no. Do you, Mr. Chairman?
Well,
They're not here.
part of that agreement was that they were going to come have a meeting with the Board of Selectmen in the middle of December with a date certain. I believe it was today. So I asked the chairman last week about it. He was going to check with Mr. Andrews. They were supposed to come and give us a report as to what was happening. So anyway, be that as it may, that didn't happen.
The week before, they were here with the audit on a special meeting.
They were here on the 14th.
That's not what was agreed to. But be that as it may, do we have another contract that we're putting together on this for the next 6 months?
Do you, Mr. Chairman? That was phase 2 of the plan, Mr. Holmes.
No, that's not the question. I understand
I'm
that
sorry.
when you had your interview committee group, that you had phase 1, phase 2, and all that. But there still has to be a contract that's associated with this. It's not an extension. It's a separate agreement.
That's correct.
Because we couldn't do an extension.
You are correct. So tonight, we're asking the board to review the quantitative comparative evaluation you have before you. And given the qualitative numbers that we see, that would definitely put us over budget in this particular area. I'm asking the board for some form of consent to go forward to finish up the contract and move it forward sometime before the end of the contract that we have with Bay State.
Which ends at 31st,
Yeah,
right?
December 31st, you are correct.
So then you need to have a contract that runs from, January 1st through
June 30th.
June 30th.
You are correct.
Which leads me to the follow-up. So you have no intentions of hiring an accountant in this fiscal year?
Mr. Chairman, I did not say that. In fact, we've had very robust discussions a number of times about this. I will follow the direction of the board at this particular juncture, given where we are with regards to receiving a clean financial audit, having general fund balance, looking to set the tax rate. I think continuity and moving forward is at the forefront of my mind. I'm happy to put as you know, Bay State has indicated at any point, I think it's 30 days, we just have to let them know that their services are no longer needed within 30 days, and we could hire somebody. But if you have, and I have, gone on the Mass Municipal website, you're going to find that Dunstable, Acton, other communities close to us are continuously looking for, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying for at least that period of time, given that we have a 30-day out, we could advertise and go forward with a person to come in as a town accountant at this particular juncture. I'm advising, as the independent auditors did last week, with regards to maintaining some form of audit accounting services that the auditors had stated in their management letter to the town. And that's the direction that I'm setting. I'm not saying that we can't put it out. I'm saying that it's time to get the finish of the tax rate completed and move forward to a point where we can say, okay, let's put this out. Let's start interviewing candidates that potentially could be out there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Again, so it didn't really answer the question, but so we need to have a new contract done and ready before December 31st. Correct?
You are correct, Mr.
That
Chair.
is
Through you,
yes.
Mr. Chairman.
That's a yes. And two, if the contract's going to be done for 6 months, if I understood your answer, you're looking for guidance from this board as to whether or not to hire an accountant or to continue outsourcing the function. Is that what you just said?
No.
Miss,
I think he said it was up to us as a board, like if we want to put it out for an accountant, we can put it out, and Bay State, we can give them a 30-day notice if we decide to hire somebody. I think that contract doesn't run the whole full 30 days, but Mr. Andrews, you want to elaborate on that?
Mr. Chairman, you are correct, and maybe I didn't say it in the shortest terms. We have looked for a town accountant 2 times. Both of those searches, members of this board have served on and helped me look for a town accountant. We found an accounting firm that is functioning as a town accountant. And if you look at that in the very short period of time that I've been associated with Bay State, they have made significant progress. In fact, I'll give you a report on where the tax rate is after we may have this discussion. But it does not prohibit us, and I think you know this by working with town council, to put out a posting for a town accountant while this RFP process is completed and we go into the beginning of the last 6 months of the fiscal year. It doesn't prohibit it. In fact, Bay State said at any time that you would like to go out and do that, just let us know. So I'm all in favor of getting feedback to say, let's try it again. We tried a couple times last summer, and it didn't pan out at this juncture. I'm making the recommendation to go for the accounting services group. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
We are going down the line.
And Mr. Chairman, thank you. And that's all I'm trying to clarify, Mark, is what you said in a short phrase.
Sure.
Because quite frankly, given the history of the town's finances, I almost have no issue outsourcing this thing at all. Because it seems to be the outsource company's the only one who could get it right so far. So, I deal with outsourcing all the time, so I may not have an issue with that.
Sure.
I was trying to find out where you were coming from, if you were, because you'd said something about looking for guidance from the board, and whether the board felt outsourcing was, is that what you're asking, is the board to weigh in on whether outsourcing is good versus hiring, or, that's what I thought I heard you say.
I think we need to move forward with this process for the accounting services through you, Mr. Chairman.
That part, right?
And then take a pause and say, okay, do we want to try again to find a town accountant? And once again, written into the 2-month contract was that provision that accounting services from Bay State, they will step back
Right.
and move forward in a direction that the town wants to set. That's my
Because
point.
in my only comment there is that, basically, if you're gonna just continue with outsource it, fine. But if you're gonna hire somebody, then you'd want to try to schedule that. I would think, if this runs through June 30th, I would think you'd want to have somebody in there by May 1st, so that they'd have 60 days with that firm to catch up on what the firm has done to make changes with policies and procedures and all that other stuff that we talked about
Sure.
the other day. It's not a type of thing where we want to end this agreement on June 30th and hire an accountant for July 1.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
I understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Snyder?
Mr. Chairman, I actually agree with what Selectman Holmes is saying. I think that the plan has been, at least as I recall, would be that if we did ultimately hire another town accountant on staff, that there would be a transition period. And I think you're absolutely right that, we need to look down the road to make sure that we build that into whatever plan we're taking. But the immediate issue is we are coming up, the contract with Bay State expires in 10 days. This board is not scheduled to meet, I don't believe, until January. So we need to give some direction as to, I think what the town administrator is asking for is direction as to which firm we would like to move forward with, because clearly the accountants, the independent accountants, have expressed satisfaction with the current firm and expressed the need to have a town accountant in the office continuously. So I guess where I'm going with it is, you're asking us to support, from my standpoint, you're being able to, I guess, sign a new contract or with either of the two firms. And based on the numbers, I assume you're asking for BMAG. Is that a correct assumption, Mr. Andrews?
Mr. Chairman, through you, Selectman Snyder, that is correct.
So that's really the only issue that we're addressing, is whether or not we're going to engage either of these two firms at this point.
That's correct.
I would make a motion to.
Until we go to the whole board.
Okay, sorry.
Mrs. Winslow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to preface my comment with saying that I don't have a preference as to whether we outsource these duties or whether we hire someone. It makes no difference to me. However, I have a very serious issue with being handed a document 10 minutes ago and being asked to make a decision about a 6-month contract. I don't think we did not get to see the responses. When Mr. Sullivan says one is $41,000 higher, all we have in front of us is a spreadsheet with a couple numbers. And I don't think that's fair to us as a board to be asked to make such a serious, 6 months is a long time, long-term commitment based on a spreadsheet in 10 minutes of discussion. And this is not the first time, I just want to point out, and I know for myself, we just got handed a spreadsheet.
Someone has the floor.
I want to be able to look at the information and have time to formulate intelligent questions and look into anything that I think needs to be looked into prior to making a decision. And I've said before, I don't think it's fair for these things to land on our lap right as they happen, because it's difficult for us. We don't know what was in these responses. We don't really know what we're buying for the town. We don't know anything, except there's one point between the two and a $41,000 difference, but we don't know what makes up the $41,000 difference. So I don't feel right now like I can make a good decision.
Mr. Chair.
I think we went through the whole board. I just want to make a comment. This other company has been with us for a month and a half. They've been working hard and diligently. And this is the last meeting we're going to have before the first of the year. And to prolong this any further, you're going to have to bite the bullet and do it. As Mr. Mark Andrews said, at any time with a 30-day notice, they're willing to terminate their contract. So we need to do something on this. And we had a debate with, a motion with everybody, not a motion, but a talk with everybody. So we need to act on this.
Mr. Chair, before I make a motion, I'd just like to clarify a couple of things here. This board certainly hires the town administrator, and the town administrator enters into contracts with department heads. I think that there seems to be this to me is a day-to-day issue. This is also addressing a material weakness identified by Powers and Sullivan. They recommended that we stay with this accounting firm. The accounting firm has proved itself to be invaluable in the process. They came in and have absolutely given us answers. So, but it's a day-to-day issue.
It's already been pointed out. It's time for motion. Can we have a motion? You want to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, respectfully, I can speak, and I have the floor right now.
No, I'm taking the floor. We're going to make a motion, and then we have a question on it. If you want a question, we'll question. We need
Mr. Cruz,
we need a motion.
I protest.
Taken in protest taken. Continue. We need anybody making a motion? Because it was already said about their qualification and what they've been doing. We're just rehashing everything over again.
Mr. Chairman, we need to approve this because Mrs. Begley is correct to a certain extent that Mr. Andrews does the hiring, but this board has to ratify that hiring within 15 days. And we don't have the days to do that. So I can, Mike, were you going to make a motion?
I was going to make a motion.
Are you still going to do it or not?
I just want to make sure that people have had the opportunity to speak what
Yeah,
they
I think everybody had the
want to say.
opportunity. We went right around the board.
No,
We went from the right to the left.
no. We didn't have the opportunity to say all we had to say.
Well, I make a motion that we give Mr. Andrews the authority to go ahead and hire the firm that he feels will do the best job for the town.
Motion made by Mr. Holmes,
Second.
second by Mike
Mr. Chair, for discussion,
for discussion.
the terms of the new contract, will those be identical?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, they'll be identical, Selectman Winslow, except for one item that I'm going to attach to it, which is the management letter, so that the accounting services firm, whichever one it might be, will need to address, as Selectwoman Bagley has pointed out, items in the management letter that were conveyed to this board and the Finance Committee last Wednesday. So that's the only exhibit that will be added to it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Questions?
Can I speak now?
Hearing no questions?
Can I speak now?
Questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Mr. Andrews, this RFP went out and was due back by today at 1:30, is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
So am I correct in assuming that you want to keep this board informed, so that's why you had it this date, because you knew that we wouldn't be meeting until after the first of the year?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that is correct. And I didn't know whether we were going to get one bidder or no bidders or, 10 bidders. And that's a pretty fluid process. So I put it on as I did on the update on town accountant services for the board to be informed.
So because of the delay earlier, Mr. Cole's firm has only been with us for 6 weeks, is that?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, and he's already accomplished, quite a bit.
November, early November, so you're talking...
So early November?
Oh, sorry, 7 weeks.
So 7 weeks.
7 weeks. 7
And you're right. They started late, Mr. Holmes, because there was a glitch in the whole system. It could have been.
Mrs. Begley?
So Powers and Sullivan, the auditors, have been pleased with working with this particular firm?
That's my understanding, as well as the administration.
So as well as the administration. You didn't have a whole lot of time. And I appreciate the fact that you brought it to us at this date on December 20th, so that there is, certainly you could have proceeded and the 15 days would have run out by the time we met again. So I appreciate the fact that you brought it to our attention, Mr. Andrews.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a comment on my motion. I would also ask the board's indulgence, as we did at the end of October, to allow me to confer with town council to make sure that this contract is adequate. Because the first one was quite a sham for the town, so we made a lot of edits to that first one, and I think that this one.
Mr. Hall, on that
Clarify
remark,
it.
on that
I
remark,
hear
if we
chatter
don't-
in the background.
on that remark, if we don't have any documentation.
Oh, I have documentation, Mr. Cruz.
Is there a
What
motion
I'm
on the
saying
floor?
is,
It's not here.
you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
The original document that I was given, and Mr. Andrews is sitting right there, he can concur. When the board allowed me to review that document and work with Rich Bowen, the first document that we read was just unbelievable. And the document that we ended up working through and adding things to it to protect the town, we had a great document to present to Mr. Andrews. He's sitting right there, you can ask him.
So do you
But
think
the
that-
original town document was a sham.
So do you think that we're going to go to the original when you already did the...
No, and what I'm saying is, all I'm asking, my comment is that I'd like to review that with Rich before Mark gives it to the firm to sign for 6 months.
Were you satisfied with the one that they signed?
For the period of 30 days, yeah. I mean, we did it. It's not like it's a delay. We did it in a matter of a day and a half, right?
Isn't there a motion on the floor? Is this?
There is a motion on the floor. Any more questions? Okay, Steve made the motion. Mike, second, to have Mr. Andrews proceed with Town,
Oh, Mr. Chair?
take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
4-1-0.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just, thank you, move on to, I do want to stress the importance of having a town accountant, particularly through the fall and winter months. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Cole has informed and kept a working group knowledge with the Treasurer Collector Foster and Ms. Miller in the assessing department, the Director of Assessment. We have submitted, we are in the process of submitting the final documentation on all of the accounting forms and schedules to the state. Last year, we received back notification from the state on December 21st, and then we had a full-time accountant in the office. This year, we're hoping to get that on or about the next several days. As you know, the state has until December 31st to set the tax rate. So I just wanted to bring the board up to date with regards to the work that Mr. Cole of Bay State Municipal Accounting Group has done, and his team working with the town's other offices in the fiscal area.
I'm sorry, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Chairman, would this be an appropriate time to ask, in light of the meeting with the auditors last week, I would like to have Mr. Andrews dust off his spreadsheet related to the Mass DOR findings of a little over a year ago, and include on that list for us to discuss at each one of the meeting and put on the agenda for each meeting a discussion of the issues, the items that we need to address in the audit, and any items that may remain in the Mass DOR report, so that this board can properly track our progress in adopting policy with respect to the financial situation and rectifying the issues as a result of the rectifying the issues outlined in the audit.
Is that a motion?
Is that a motion?
I mean, that was a long one. So, because someone already said second, so, that, that sounds like a good idea, so, anything that we can keep track of and make sure that we do things right.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to add that, particularly with the colored field, so you can see what was done with the Department of Revenue audit, what will be included in the accounting services contract relative to the management letter, and keep the board informed throughout the process of getting those items completed and to the satisfaction of not only the town, but of the Board of Selectmen. I'm happy to do that.
And Mr. Andrews, if you would include the items that have already, I know it's cumbersome, but if you would include the items that have already been completed on the DOR report, although they may have been completed and checked off, I think, so that we have a historical perspective of what exactly has been done and what needs to be done.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to do that, and I'll get that document together as quickly as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
You're welcome.
Was that in the form of a motion seconded?
Do we need a motion, or?
I think we do. I go along with that as a motion. That way you get done.
I would make a motion.
Well, I think if we ask the town administrator, it's going to get done anyway, but if we don't have that much confidence in them, something's wrong with it.
Right, and I do have the confidence in the town administrator, and if work didn't get done, then I would just ask the question again in the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, if I will put that together in whatever the board would like to do with a motion or not a motion. That was an important document. I will get that back.
If you want to make the motion, Mr. Holmes, you can make the motion.
Well, I'd make a motion that the report that Mr. Schneider just asked for be made part of the town administrator's report on a weekly basis, beginning January 7th, with our first meeting in January the 10th.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Kara, to have the DOR report on our agenda.
With the audit checklist.
Right now, I don't know if we should put a date on it until we get back.
Can you give me, just let me check. I need
Right.
to.
Make sure he's get all his information, because it'll either be the 10th or the 17th or whatever.
Yes. Get on it.
Okay, motion made. Motion second. Question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0-0.
Chairman, just on the status report ongoing, to finish up here, we are working with Senate Pacheco staff and our legislative delegation on Article 48, the charter change relative to the sewer commissioners. And with regards to cooperation and update with the school committee, that's ongoing. I know there was a seminar this morning that Mr. Sullivan attended on behalf of the administration relative to the preparation of the fiscal 2013 budget. On town hall virtualization, Mr. Underhill is on vacation. I gave an update at the last meeting with regards to the installation of servers both here at the police station and the project moving forward from that standpoint. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from the board on the TA's report? If none, we'll move forward.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Well, there's two things, but I'm not sure if one of them belongs under this. A few months ago, I had asked, and Mr. Andrews had said that we were going to get the list of the vacant, we have a number of vacant positions and where we are in the process of hiring for those positions, and we haven't seen that yet. And I'm just wondering if we can get that for January so we can keep an idea of where we're at filling.
Mr. Andrews, can you update us on that?
I will provide that update, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And the second thing, and I'm not sure, you can tell me if this is would fall under the town administrator's report or any other town business. I think it's a little bit of both. We have a policy about department heads updating the Board of Selectmen on a regular basis, and we haven't done that. And I'd like to start the new year off by abiding by that policy and start having the department heads give us their updates. And I think that it would be beneficial for the board in a number of respects, not just so that we get an idea of where the department heads are, but also we can get a better idea of what each department's function, and the public can get a better idea of what each department's function is within Town Hall. So, for example, there was a lot of discussion last week about the assessors and setting the tax rate, and we all found out that, in fact, the assessor's office does a lot of the work and the reeval and things like that, but they're only one piece of the overall team that sets the tax rate. So if we could get that rolling again, and I think it would be a nice way to start off the new year. And it may eliminate a number of the questions that come from the public and some of the misconceptions in the public also.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to stimulate that discussion with the leadership team. I encourage them to come forward. I believe we got a grant update from the harbor master at the last meeting. I'm just going back to my board packet here. The chief was here tonight. He'll be coming up with a number of programs that he indicated this evening. I think it's a great idea, and we'll move that forward at leadership team in order to bring not only the board, but as you have indicated, up to speed with regards to leadership team activities. I do also want to point out that I think I'm approaching something in the vicinity over at least 30 programs of the town administrator's report that we do bring department heads in and try to get that out in another venue. I think it is on Friday evenings, I'm told. And so I'm happy to move that along. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Want to continue, Mr. Holmes?
Next, we have the ABCC renewal certification for 2012. Do we need a motion on this, or is this, I thought we did all this last week.
Yeah, because
That all the licenses were renewed.
they were all renewed, none lagging.
Did we sign that document? Did they put a folder in there to sign in here?
Should be in there if there was
Oh, then maybe we need a motion then, because I thought this was in that packet. This is the renewal certification. I believe we were in 100% compliance from what I was told. And basically, five, they have 5 lines here. It says, we certify, and we have determined that the premises described in all 2012 renewal applications approved by us and forwarded to the ABCC are now occupied, used, controlled by the licensee, and will be on January 1st, 2012. thought we signed that as part of the packet last week. Let me just look quick. See, I don't see that document in here to be signed.
Was that a motion, Mr. Holmes?
Yeah, I guess we can make a motion, and that way it makes it official in case it wasn't done last week.
Right. Motion made by Mr. Holmes, second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Winslow. Question? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 5-0-0.
While we're on that subject, Mr. Chairman, I would like to remind all licensees that the licenses are available in the office, and you need to pick them up prior to the end of the year, so that on January 1st, when you open, you need to have that new license on the wall. Obviously, we know who you are if you haven't picked it up, because it's still sitting in the box, and that could be a problem. All right, school transportation discussion is next.
Mr. Chairman, I don't see anyone from the school committee here. Were they?
Right. When you recommended about us getting up together, there was no date on it. So I contacted a couple of members from the school department, and with their suggestion and the fact that it borders on the same thing that Mrs. Begley said about certain committees. They like to have an informal meeting with the school board, 2 members from the school board, FinCom, capital planning, and Board of Selectmen. That'll include the chairman and 1 other member, plus Mr. Andrews and Barry. So that'll be 10 people for an informal meeting. And then once that takes place, then we can come back with whatever recommendations or other committees that they need to have done. But this is a starting point for us to get together as a group.
Well, would you just go down that list again, please?
Okay, it's a school committee. There's 2 members each. School committee, FinCom, capital planner, Board of Selectmen, Mr. Andrews and Mr. Barry. It's informal, and they're planning, we have 2 days, January 7th, it's be on a Saturday at 9 o'clock, or January 14th. They're in agreement with it. We got basically the same people that Mrs. Begley had mentioned earlier on the committee, so this is almost like a prelim, and then we can go from there. That's all I have. Anybody else want?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Schneider, just...
Let's start from that end and work this way.
Well, I just want to clarify on those dates. We already have a meeting scheduled, I believe, on January 14th in the morning. Do we not?
The 7th is the 7th.
Okay, but no, I just want to make sure that... Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I guess my question to you is, did they decline the invitation for the Board of Selectmen to meet with the school committee to discuss the school transportation issue?
No, I wouldn't say they declined, but I didn't send any invitation out, because I wasn't sending any invitation out until I talked to the school board or the school committee to find out their availability of attending the meeting. In other words, I'm not going to say you got to be here on the 20th or else. This is a team effort, and we need to start working as a team. So I figured I'll talk to them. We'll have an informal meeting. To me, I don't see any problem with that. That's a step forward, and then we can go from there.
Mr. Chairman, just so there's no misunderstanding, what I thought my request was for the Board of Selectmen to extend an invitation to the school committee to come to meet with the Board of Selectmen to discuss the school transportation issue. Not that we were going to dictate necessarily a time. It was to extend an invitation, and I would request that you extend that invitation once again.
Now, when you say invitation, I verbally talked to them, and this is what, between myself and them, to be equal, we have a meeting amongst ourselves. If you're trying to say that we need to dictate, I don't want to say dictate, a meeting that you have to come and sit before us. If that's what the board prefers, we're only drawing ourselves further apart. If we come in a consensus and work as a team, because I think we're headed in the right direction, I think everything will go right. But if it's up to the board, I'm the chairman, and like I said, I didn't say no. There was a letter looking at me in the face. I don't know who said to write it, telling them to be here at a certain date, a certain time. And I'm not that kind of a chairman or a person to be dictating somebody, you have to be here a certain day. We're going to talk as gentlemen, and we're going to work, and respect begets respect. And we need to start somewhere, and this is a start.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The purpose of the invitation was for the Board of Selectmen as a whole, to meet with the school committee as a whole, to have an open, public discussion on the school transportation issue. Pretty simple from my standpoint, and certainly nothing nefarious in that request. Did we make a motion? For some reason, I thought that we voted on that at one point.
You voted for me to get up with the school committee with no date set. It was just for me to get up with them, and I did get up with them. There was no specifics on it. It said for us to get up, no date. And when I got up with a couple of them on the school committee, this was what we came up with, and it sounded like it was a good step forward. So I proposed it to the board. Now I'm proposing it to the board, so here you have it in front of you. So we can go one way or the other, and it's up to the board. We went, Steve, then we'll go right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, if I recall, the motion, not Mr. Schneider's motion about a joint meeting, I think you can still do that anyway, and just ask them to come. Ask them, which Tuesday night is best in January. Put them on the agenda, right? That's easy enough. But I don't really think that's going to resolve anything. I'm going back to a motion that I think Mrs. Begley made, or maybe Mrs. Winslow made it after a bunch of discussion, and she included everybody's stuff in there. And through you, you said two members of the Finance Committee, 2 members of Capital Planning, 2 members of the School Committee, 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Andrews, Town Administrator, and Mr. Rabinovich, the School Administrator. And through you to Mrs. Begley. Wasn't there some at-large people in that list? 3 at-large people. So what I think you've done is you may have started the works on forming this committee that we voted on forming. My only question to you is that you didn't mention at-large people. Are you going to include
No,
3 at-large people?
Just what I mentioned is what we came up with. Now, they can have a meeting as planned, talk about it, and then if you want to go, we'll all get together. You got 2 members from each one of these committees. If we get together and say, I'm assuming, okay, let's form that committee and go from there. Or they may come back and say, let's just talk to the board and we don't need a committee. So this is a feeling out process for everybody.
Well, I mean, I like the the fact that you have the Finance Committee involved there because they review the numbers on a regular basis. You have the Capital Planning Group, who any of these purchases would have to go through anyway, as well as town meeting for vehicles. You have some people from the School Committee, the Board of Selectmen. You have the Town Administrator, who controls the town budget. You have Mr. Rabinovich, that is the administrator of the schools and has to work with Mr. Andrews to get a budget. But I do think that, I supported the motion to have some at-large people. I don't want to say Joe Citizen, but you know what I mean. Somebody who's not in an elected office or appointed position to sit in on the meetings. Maybe some parents from the PTA or some of those folks who have a vested interest in the buses or the school transportation, not to sit in on that meeting. So I couldn't see why anybody would be opposed to that.
Well, right now, for this, they're not making any decision. The only decision we'll probably make, or whatever we come up with, is how we're going to get together and implement this. So it'll come back. When it comes back, if they adopt the proposal, the same, well, it won't be the same people, because when we come back to the board, you may have a different set of people going to the meeting. But it's only a starting point for us to get started in coming back with something else. Like I said, this is what's proposed. This is on the table.
And to clarify, it's not a private meeting, it's a public meeting.
It's an informal meeting between.
It's public, it's going to be, people are going to know when it is, right? You just said January.
But it's not going to be public.
7th or the 14th.
Right, it's not.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's what the board, keep your comments to yourself. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
It's up to the board to make the decisions.
Mr. Chair, is it my turn now?
Yes, it is.
Right now, Mr. Chair, you were directed by this board to extend an invitation to the school committee. So far, and I know you keep saying it's a starting point, so far the only one that's had a starting point, the only one that's had communication with the school committee is you, not this board. And I personally feel having 2 members of each and avoiding having a quorum so that it can be avoided being a public meeting is horrifying. This community wants transparency. That was our entire discussion when we had a lengthy discussion about having a committee formed, about having members of various committees and 3 citizens at large. This community craves transparency, as do I, because I haven't had an opportunity to ask any questions to any member of the school committee, just you have. So I would respectfully ask that you extend that invitation, and if they don't want to come here, we'll go there. So if they don't want to come here on a Tuesday night, I'm perfectly happy to go there on a Wednesday night. But I want the opportunity to ask the questions. I want people here the opportunity to witness the entire meeting, the opportunity to ask questions if they're given that opportunity. And I simply will not support something like this. The only way I would support something like this is if it was an absolute public posted meeting with a posted agenda, a posted place, so that anybody that wanted to go there, so that the minutes would be taken, the minutes would be approved and available to the public. I think far too much goes behind closed doors in the town of Wareham.
Transparency is a good thing, and I think it should be right across the board for everybody. The only other thing that we can do, you said, have a meeting. It may not be on a Tuesday night. It may be, because I even asked about that, not to all the boards, but to one. It was like, I thought it was the 14th or 13th. It was on a Thursday that we meet, as you said, with the school board and the Board of Selectmen. A designated place where we're all on equal footing.
Right.
So we can go back with them on that and see what they say.
Mr. Cruz, this is not a time of negotiation.
No,
like,
it's not
okay, they do
negotiation.
this, then they say this, then and you're like the negotiator between these two governmental bodies. I find I want to have a, I don't think that that's constructive for us to get together. I want something constructive to bring us together and have a conversation so that the community is involved as well. So I will not support any more closed-door meetings. And this sounds like a committee. If this is a committee, it's a public body, and it's subject to open meeting law.
Well, I think that was already clarified last week on the open meeting thing, but it's up to the board. If you want to go with this, if you want another proposal, they're on TV, they're watching it, they're having their meeting tomorrow, and they'll probably discuss whatever we come up with now. If you want to have a meeting with us and them, the location will be set and the time, because it won't be on a Tuesday night, as far as I can see. Right now.
Why is that?
Well, with our agenda and their agenda, but we can still have it televised. It can be in any room. It can be here, next door, anywhere.
Yeah, but we could we could do it again. We could say at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday evening, or 5 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. Or if they prefer, I'll go over to the middle school an hour earlier. and be happy to go on a Wednesday evening.
Well, we need to confer with them to find what date is comparable for both of us. Unless you're going to say, we
But to
want it
cl-
on the 17th and there's no ifs, ands, or buts
But
about it.
no. Being flexible about this, Chairman Cruz, and I'm wondering if, is what you're saying that you will continue to pursue the Board of Selectmen meeting with the entire Board of Selectmen, or as many as we can, meeting with the entire school committee, with the town administrator and the school superintendent? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're on discussion right now.
That's what we're talking about, correct? I
That's
just
what
don't
you're
want to be
talking- that's what you're
misunderstood.
talking about right now.
Okay, that's what I don't want to be misunderstood.
Right.
To Mrs. Begley's point, on January 18th, we already have a meeting with the school committee, I think at 7. Why don't we just try to do it at 6 that night? We have a meeting already with them on the budget.
The public hearing.
The budget presentation. Maybe we could just do it that night. Since
Well,
we're all,
we'll still have to present it to them.
oh, you have to
Right.
ask them.
And that's what I'm getting at. We have to go to them no matter how you do it. Just remember,
Let's not go
we
into
got
that.
voted, no, we don't. We got voted in, just like they got voted in. They had as much votes or more than the selectmen just got voted. So
Mr.
we're on
Cruz,
equal-
I'm not
we're
saying
on
power.
equal-
This is not a power struggle.
It is.
This is not a power struggle.
We need to get together.
But it's become one, unfortunately, and I think that having just a go-between is not productive. And I'm wondering if, I would like to see, okay, let's have it go through the town administrator if you'd rather not do it, Mr. Cruz, and extend the invitation to the school committee, find out when and where, and we will meet with them.
That's what didn't I say I got up with them, and this was their first proposal. You have a proposal in front of you.
Miss-
If you don't like this proposal, you can vote it down, and if you have another proposal, we'll come up with it. Mrs. Winslow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is reminiscent of the conversation that occurred in Washington, D.C. today. And at the end of the day, nothing got accomplished. So I don't have a personal preference as to whether a committee meets or this board and that board meets. What I do want is for it to be a public discussion. I believe that the public needs to hear this discussion. So I will support any form of coming together in a room, whether it's a committee of 10, whether made up of Finance Committee, Capital Planning, Board of Selectmen, and School Committee, or whether it's a committee of Board of Selectmen and School Committee. However, at some point in the very near future, these two boards have got to figure out how we're going to work together. And it needs to be done publicly.
And ASAP.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just for your information and consideration, we don't need to wait until our next meeting to arrange this meeting. It's not a violation of the open meeting law to schedule a meeting via email. So we could propose several dates to the school committee, and the school committee could respond to those dates or propose other dates so that we can get this scheduled as quickly as possible.
But I don't think there was any problem in communicating or setting a date, Mr. Snyder. The idea is we're at odds of how we're going to come about it. We have one proposal, now we have another. We can schedule it any time after the first of the year. Like I said, they had proposed the 7th or the 14th. So any time after when we come back in session, as you may call, or that week, we can have it any time as long as we get up with them and we're all in agreement. Because a lot of times with this board, we have meetings and there's people not attending. So we need to make sure we try to have as much full board as we can when we do set something up.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask that you extend the invitation via email to the school committee and ask them to propose some dates to us to meet with the Board of Selectmen?
We could do that. Well, I think Mr. Holmes is next, and then,
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to clarify something.
I said Mr. Holmes is next.
Well, I
Back
was
and
just,
forth.
I was just going to suggest that we already have a date where the two boards are meeting January 18th at 7 o'clock. And why don't you just send, who's the chairman then? Is it Kenny or is it Jeff?
Jeff.
Why don't you just send Jeff an email and say, Jeff, talk to the guys tomorrow, ladies tomorrow night, and, let's try to meet on the 18th at 6 o'clock, and we have an hour discussion. But I do want to say something here, because Mr. Cruz is our chairman, and he's not out negotiating nuclear trade secrets with the Russians or anything. He's trying to get a meeting with the school committee. And the difficulty he's having is reflective of the relationship over the last 30 years. He goes to them and says, and he's using words like proposals. There's no proposals. I know what he did. He went and said, hey, we want to have a meeting. And they said, oh, well, we suggest we meet this way. I'm sure that he's not negotiating anything except trying to get people to come to a meeting. So there's no negotiation going on, unless I'm mistaken. Are you negotiating, Mr. Cruz, with anyone? Except to get a meeting.
Try to get a meeting together so we
And
can
that's how difficult
so we can
this
come
has
to a
become.
consensus to move forward.
And that's how difficult this has become between these two boards over the years. There's a lot of new faces on this board and on that board as well. And there just seems to be the historic grunnel. And maybe it's as easy as, hey, on the 18th, let's try to get together at 6, just like we did a couple of weeks ago, like we do with our meetings. We got to be there anyway at 7. Let's just try to get there for 6, and we'll at least begin an hour-long discussion.
Mrs. Winslow.
That's my suggestion, anyway.
Mrs. Winslow.
If what I'm hearing from Mr. Chair is correct, the issue here isn't having the meeting. The issue is how the group is going to be made up. We want it to be the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. And the school committee is suggesting 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, 2 members of the Finance Committee, 2 members of the Capital Planning Committee. So
Mrs. Winslow,
we can
Mr.
keep...
Chairman.
Excuse me, wait, she has the floor. You had the floor, she has the floor.
May I have a minute to say something here? That's not accurate information. What we're talking about is Mr. Schneider's motion to have a meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the school committee, not to form a committee or make decisions or to do all that stuff that you're talking about with this committee. Now, if the 2 boards come together and they decide, hey, we should have a committee, then this discussion takes place. But that's not what he asked for. He asked for a joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the school committee.
I understand that, Mr. Holmes, but what Mr. Chair said at the beginning of this discussion was that when he presented that information, the response was that the school committee would prefer to have a meeting with 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, 2 members, unless I misheard Mr. Chair, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. So if the issue is in fact not when we're going to meet or how we're going to meet or where we're going to meet, the issue is who is going to meet. Am I correct in that, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, I want to let you continue. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm trying to clarify.
In other words, this is a starting point for us to get together, and I don't think there's going to be any decision except to move forward.
But what I'm trying to clarify is I think that half of us are talking about one thing and the other half are talking about another.
No.
If the issue here is not getting a date, a time, a place, or a camera, the issue here is who's going to sit in on that meeting, correct? This board wants it one way and the school committee wants it another. So where do we go from here?
Board, everyone's spoke, make a motion, and they're watching on TV and they're going to hear exactly whatever you come up with. So,
Did you make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's pretty simple. The Board of Selectmen is extending an invitation to the school committee and the school superintendent to discuss a very important issue that affects the community publicly, on television, so to have an open, honest discussion about it, and they can either accept it or they can deny it. But I think that we need to have an answer one way or the other. If they've told you that they don't want to come, and and I'm not saying that this is the case, maybe you don't want to say that here, maybe that's the case. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to make sure that we extend the invitation. The idea here is to have an open, honest, and productive discussion. Nothing more.
Okay, so you want a school committee meeting, Board of Selectmen, you haven't any date. So do you want to get up with them and say what date is comparable to everyone, or you want to set a date like Mr. Holmes has said?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen, through Mr. Andrews, send a note to the Barry Rabinovich and the school committee that we meet at 6 p.m. on January 18th, just prior to the budget meeting,
To discuss.
to discuss school transportation.
I'll second, but I will be late.
Well, that's okay.
See, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, no, it's. I mean, it's pretty simple at this point.
Either
And I
you'll
know
be
they're,
there,
I know they're available.
either you'll be there or
because
you won't.
They didn't ask us what date we wanted to do the budget thing. They sent the date. So let's just send out the note, get up with them tomorrow, and say we're going to meet at 6 p.m. on that day. How difficult is that?
Mr. Andrews, okay, motion made.
I seconded it.
Carol, second. Any other questions? No other? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0-0.
All right. Other town business.
I think on other town business, Mr. Andrews, do we have something with Great Neck Conservation Project?
There was a request, Mr. Chairman, through you to the board and listening audience for the extension of a conservation restriction by the Wareham Land Trust. You should have something, if you don't, I apologize, in your packet. It came in late. I believe it's a vote of the board to take action to allow that extension to go forward.
Is anybody here on that, on this issue?
Yes.
Could you come up, please? If you wouldn't mind stating your name and speak right into that microphone and describe what your request is, please.
Did you say state my name, yeah? Jesse
please.
Frere, Wareham Land Trust. I'm here on behalf of the partners of the Great Neck Conservation Project. And what we have is an amendment that we need the board's signature on to one of the private conservation restrictions in Great Neck. The reason we need signatures is for the release of funding for this project. It recorded at the Plymouth Registry of Deeds, so it's been before the town, it's been voted. And really, why this amendment needed to be drafted was that the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration grant program that funded they brought in more than $200 million towards the project, has a lot of specifics that they wanted to see in the recorded conservation restriction that did not make it. And the only reason why it didn't make it is because we and Mass Audubon at the time didn't know that they wanted to see the specifics. Specifics such as the grant number, language using NOAA in the actual conservation restriction and different sections of it as well. And that is why we need, why I'm hoping we can get signatures on this so we can have access to the funds and allocate them towards the projects.
Does the board have any questions? Mrs. Winslow first.
I have no questions, Mr. Holmes. This, I believe, happened once before, a couple, maybe more than that.
That's right. I wasn't here. Mass Audubon was here, and they said the same. It's an identical situation, just a different one. There's many parcels down there. There's at least 8 properties with CRs on them. So there may be another one that is brought forth here, but for now, this is
Similar to a Scribner's error or a clerical error. It just didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't change the language that's written to the conservation restriction. It doesn't change it. It just exactly exactly, clerical error on our part in the eyes of the funders. So,
Thank you.
Schneider.
I'm sorry, and maybe I missed it for whatever reason. Did the Conservation Commission weigh in on this? Have they
I'm reading through that right now.
Has this been to the Conservation Commission?
yeah, this conservation restriction, the Wareham Land Trust, Mass Audubon, and the town of Wareham acting towards conservation restriction all signed off on the conservation restriction and all are collectively the grantee of this conservation restriction. So yes, so it's been through that process. Yes.
And if I could, through you, Mr. Chairman, just for further clarification.
Sure.
This came up at a late date. Obviously, you need this by the end of the calendar year.
Yes, from what I understand, that's right. It's time sensitive, and that's why I'm here tonight. Is yes, we need this. We need these signatures. If there's additional questions, I don't know when I could collectively get everybody's signature. If you weren't comfortable with signing it tonight, but we are available to answer additional questions. With help from some Mass Audubon folks who worked more on it than myself, we could get the answers if need be on any specific.
You have anything?
This doesn't have to be notarized, correct?
Does.
Actually,
does
it
have to be
does,
notarized?
yes. Yes, it requires a notary.
I'm a notary.
I'm a notary.
Shirley,
Oh.
Shirley said that she would
Yep.
take care of it. I can have a motion, please.
I make a
Page-
motion to approve.
Page, no, there's no page number. It's under approval, but the heading is approval by selectmen.
I didn't get the copy of it, Mr. Holmes. Did you want to hand it down to me? Or let Mrs. Begley do it?
This document is titled Approval by Selectmen. We, the undersigned, being a majority of the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Wareham, Massachusetts, hereby certify that a meeting duly held on December 20th, 2011, the Board voted to, I guess that's my motion, to approve the foregoing conservation restriction amendment as being in the public interest pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 184, Sections 31 through 33.
We have a motion by Mrs. Bagley,
Second.
second by Mrs. Winslow. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, maybe Mr. Farrar could pick up a signed copy at the Board of Selectmen's office in the morning. You're welcome.
All right. Next up is sewer.
Any town business?
Oh, still under.
Yes. Mr. Chair, I just wonder if there's anything we have to do about the vacancy on the Board of Assessors. Do we need to address that in January as a board?
Question? Question been-
I do believe that we need to discuss it as an agenda item. There's
That's
only
correct. To
yeah.
put it on the agenda in January.
Oh,
That's what I'm asking.
yes.
Mm.
You're asking him though,
Yes.
Right.
not me.
Okay. Well,
Not
I
you.
wanted-
Okay.
No,
I thought
I'm
you wanted
good.
to discuss it now, but
No, it's not on the agenda. So could we put that on the agenda for January, please?
okay, we'll take a look whether it's the 10th or the 17th.
All right, sewer business.
I have-
Mike had something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Andrews, has there been any update on the town contractor who was parking vehicles, salt-covered vehicles, up in Zone 2?
To you, Mr. Chairman, I will check on that. I know that Inspection Services and the Chief of Police have been working very hard to get some voluntary compliance, and I know the board has taken an action to get mandatory compliance, and I'll get an update and get it out to the board in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
You're welcome.
Any other? Mr. Holmes?
Are we done this time? When I hear silence, okay, I'm
Yeah,
ready to move on if it's still silent. Next is sewer business. Mr. Campina's here.
Well,
Guy, you come on up. You were going to get back to us from last week on Pomodoro's issue. And I see that Brian's here from Pomodoro's as well.
Yes?
What's this on the check?
This isn't on the agenda.
It's from last week.
Hi, Guy. Good, how are you?
Hey, Guy, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Last week, when Pomodoro's came up for an extension, I had a question on the easement. It's the first time I heard about a licensed, they're calling it a licensed utility way or area, is what they're calling it. So I suggested we find out what that was. This is the actual document. And pretty much what it says, as you have in front of you, is that as long as he owns that property, he can have that easement. So it's pretty straightforward. The history, again, from last week is a failed septic system. That property at one time, as ZDs had permission to tie in, they never did. He's proposing a pump system to go out the back through this easement into Tow Road. I had spoke to town council, and his answer was, I had asked him the problem with this. He said, this is exactly the problem. When he ceases to be owner, the right for the line to be there expires with the license. He says, I'd press for something better, an easement. So I called the parties, and they said they're happy with the way it is. So that's where we are with that. It becomes responsibility of the owner that if the license expires, then there's nothing that we can do. But that's the board's decision. I want to be very clear about that. My recommendation, if you ask me, it's a business decision. He knows that as long as he owns a property as an easement, if he goes to sell, he loses that easement. And he has to make a decision at that point. In his selling of it, it's a business decision. So that's where I stand on that. And I figured he'd be here. If you had any questions, you could certainly ask of him personally.
And,
Go ahead, Mr. Holt.
Mr. Chair, Guy, and you did verify that this was recorded in the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, correct?
Correct. It's recorded at the Registry of Deeds, as it states here, that he has a right to use that as long as the owner.
Right.
Yes, that's recorded. And so he has an easement. The question is if he sells, what happens?
But that's between the owner of that property and the owner of the other property.
Absolutely. It's recorded, so anybody does their due diligence, they'll find it, and decisions can be made as to what they want to do.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Winslow?
may I ask a question?
Yes.
Which many may find stupid, but I have to agree, it's a business decision, but it's a town sewer line. So if he sells the property and they decide not to grant another license, who's responsible for that pipe? Who's going to pay to take it out?
It's his pipe. He's paying to put it in. It's a private pipe. It goes through his property, through the easement property or the licensed property, and then into the sewer. So if he sells the property and they say, no, we're not renewing the license to the new owner, I guess they don't have sewer. So the new owner would have to either go someplace else, put a septic system in, whatever. That's their call, but that's their line, not ours.
So can I, Mr. Welch, is it? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So do you understand, and I realize you have no plans to sell this property, but do you understand that should you ever decide to sell the property, if the new owner is unable to negotiate with the other property owner, that you're going to be, or the new owner is going to be responsible? We're not going to be responsible.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And this is
I
on
totally
tape.
understand that. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to go another route. It
Okay.
just seems to be the only route at this time. And
Well, sometimes people come back to us 10 or 15 years after, a really weird scenario came up, and I just want it, somewhere in
on
a
the
DVD
record or
collection.
whatever, right? No, I understand.
Thank you.
Before you go back and forth, sir, now would you state, since you spoke, would you state your name and address for the record?
Brian Welch.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Mr. Snyder?
Mr. Chairman, yes, through you to Mr. Welch. I just have really one quick question, and that is, there was some discussion here at a previous meeting as to the current status of the restaurant, name, et cetera. Is it?
Right at the time, right now, we're closed. It's been that way for almost 3 months, I believe. We're in the process of changing the name and going through all the steps, working with the Selectman's office through the ABCC and getting all that stuff done.
Okay, so it is going to, the business name is going to change?
Correct, yeah.
So as of right now, you don't have the change of name?
What's that?
Right now, you don't have a change. You're doing everything as Pomodoro's right now?
Well, I'm sorry. We're closed right now, so.
Right,
Still
Pomodoro's.
Yeah,
Right,
technically it's still Pomodoro's, yep.
Right. So if you do open up, then the only thing you can open up is Pomodoro's. Right now, I see the sign, because I go home that way. Pomodoro's sign is covered up, and it says Grill 28.
Right.
So when do you plan on open, dear?
Hopefully 2 to 3 weeks.
As long as you don't have the name change, you know you can't open. If you're going to open up, you're going to have to open up as Pomodoro's. Right now, Pomodoro's is covered up. And you got grill, whatever it is coming, so.
Talking to the Selectman's office, she had told me that we could open up and then do the transfer after that fact. That's how I understood it. I believe Mr. Andrews was there when we spoke too.
Well, I think we better run by it again, because I think you can open up as Pomodoro's. Because you have ample time right now to have the paperwork finished or done. So is anything holding you up? Because you already have.
No, I actually would have had it done. What I understood is what they said is get open and then get the paperwork done. And then the transfer will transpire at that point.
And you're closed for 3 months because of?
Well, basically we ran out of money. It was basically a week away from foreclosure, and then I got some money from another source. And
Yeah, because I see some renovations going on.
yeah, we're doing some minor stuff. No alterations. Mostly floors, painting, stuff like that. So there's no alterations of the premise or where the liquor's going to be or anything like that. So that's pretty much it.
On this easement, was there any reason why you couldn't have got a regular easement?
Well, the owner of the property I'm going through didn't want to make it when I did it, I understood it to be an easement, but I understood that it would be something we would negotiate when I sold the property. Apparently it's a license, but I guess it's still, the contract says that as long as I own the property, I have, the right to use that.
Mr. Chairman.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If I could just brief. Mr. Walsh, the day that we met, it was regarding your renewal of your license, which obviously, given the tenuous circumstances you faced that you've described, but I think the chairman, and I just want to be very clear, in order to open with the new name, you have to have the transfer of the paperwork to the new name done before you actually open the doors up for operation. That's the point. So by giving it to you well in advance, so that you had it, perhaps we met back in it was late summer, early fall, and so the idea is to return the paperwork with the change of the name, so that the day you go to open, there's a new name and there's a new owner of record for the license. That's my understanding.
Mr. Chair, two quick things. First, I make a motion to go beyond the hour 10 for the sole purpose of finishing this discussion with Mr. Campina.
Motion made to continue.
Oh, a second.
Second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that's to continue and finish with this, what we have in front of us.
The second thing is, and I'm a little bit confused about this, maybe there's some confusion in the office. We're the licensing authority. nobody in town hall is the licensing authority. If somebody wants to close for anything in excess of, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, then we need to be notified about that. And that's very important that that happens, because we are the ones who get the phone calls when the businesses aren't open or they're not open during the hours.
Mr. Chairman, I got to stop this. I have to stop this. This is a discussion about a liquor license. We are continuing last week's agenda item with Mr. Campina, who was to report back to this board. This is way off the range. Way off the range.
Okay,
We're in the sewer business, and a report from Mr. Campina from last week. Liquor licenses, it's not part of this discussion, in my opinion.
well, we just informed him to let him know that when he does open up, it has
Well,
to be
that's a
changed.
discussion for
Right.
another time, not this time.
So what before us now, Mr. Campina? Go ahead.
It's simply about a sewer connection. He's applied for a sewer connection. We have the paperwork from last week. We're clarifying the easement, if you will, the license.
You need a motion,
For
Mr.
that,
Campina?
yes, I need a motion to.
Make a motion to
Wait,
tie.
hold it.
Excuse me,
Wait a
excuse
minute.
me. Mr. Campina never finished his conversation.
Okay.
He has the floor. Go ahead, Mr. Campina.
Sorry. And it's simply straightforward that we're presenting to the board with the conditions that we have in front of you. There's a packet that talks about the maintenance agreements, the grease trap maintenance, and those type of things. Will be a caveat or attachment to the connection fee. The connection permit or license that you allow them to connect. And like I said, the only cloudy part was this, and now that it's clear, it's certainly an onus is on his shoulders to maintain this. We don't own it. We have nothing to do with it. And so it is my opinion that I see no reason why not to give him the connection. He's paying good money for a system. He's putting a pump-up system in there, a dual pump system of the plans. He's paying for all that, and he's going through his property and somebody else's property coming to us. And so I'm asking for a connection for Pomodors.
Can I just ask a question, Mr. Cruz? Hi, guy.
How you doing?
Okay.
Good.
You?
I'm hanging right in there, doing real good.
Go. I have a question.
Yes.
Is there anybody else besides us that would have to approve something like this, since this is kind of a conditional easement?
Not to my knowledge. And again, it's beyond my, that's why I asked Mr. Bowen, Rich Bowen, as to the validity of this. And it's very valid, but he wants to point out that there's a caveat. If he sells it, he loses the right to that line.
Right.
So no one else has this. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Didn't know it
But
existed.
zoning doesn't have to get involved, or, that's just, I'm just curious.
No, we do easements all in sewer. If somebody's going to go through somebody's property, an example, we had a property on 207 Sandwich Road. They had to go through someone's property to get to the sewer. They worked out an easement, an agreement, and they paid for the sewer. So yes, they worked it out.
Right, but this
And
is a
forward.
conditional or temporary easement. So that was why I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know.
And my other question is this, and, as a sewer commissioner, I don't even know if this would even be a valid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If this is, Mr. Welch, if this is a mortgaged premises, is this something that your bank has to sign off on?
They are under the understanding I'm doing it, and they never
Okay.
mentioned that I had to do that.
I
so,
just didn't want you to get into kind of,
Yeah.
or the town,
Yeah.
or any litigation to result of
Okay.
any action this board
Oh.
takes.
Okay.
I just want to be the board cognizant that we have a failed system there. It's a failed system. And the Board of Health has asked that they do something, and this is one of the solutions they come up with.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes, you ready to make a motion?
Everybody's done.
I think they are.
Sure? Look at him rocking.
Are you all set?
I'm fine.
What do you need a motion for, Guy? Do you need a motion? We don't.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
We don't
I
take
think-
a motion for everybody to tie in, do we?
Oh, yes, permission,
Okay.
the only,
All right, I make a
you're
motion
the
then.
only one that can allow someone to tie into the system.
All right, I make a motion that we allow Mr. Campina to allow the tie-in of 2424 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Mike. Any other questions? Hearing none.
Do we have to add the caveat about the easement that came from Attorney Bowen?
I would definitely add that there's an easement attached. It's recorded. I would mention that absolutely, because it is part of that. It's part of the tie-in.
All right. Okay, let me do it this way. Mike, would you take that back?
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you. I withdraw my original. I make a motion that we grant to Brian M. Welch, 2424 Cranberry Highway, the right to tie in based on Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, Book 21911, page 213.
Second.
Motion made by Steve, second by Mike. Question? No questions, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0-0.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn?
Time out. Are we all set, Mr. Computer?
Yes,
No, that is, a motion
that's all I
was
can
made.
talk about.
Just talking
Right,
about.
this is
In this
finished, we voted.
particular piece of property, everything's done. I'll just get him a copy of everything, all the conditions, and he can do the paperwork. He's got to use a licensed guy, and so
So
I'll
we're done.
contact with him.
That's
Yes, we're done.
Motion made to adjourn.
It was seconded.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa.
Sign all the paperwork.